Welcome to Live Impact News. I am Julie Kay here at 12:30 in the Impact Studio, and we want to get straight out to some breaking news. The murder of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner. Nick Reiner, their son, now charged in the double murder. His attorney, Alan Jackson, is speaking live outside of the LA courthouse. Let's take a listen in.
I just have a couple of quick words. First of all, and most importantly, this is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that. Our hearts go out to the entire Reiner family. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. Those need to be thoroughly but very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. We ask that during this process you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward. Not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves. So with that, we are set for January 7th for an arraignment. That's the next court date, and that's all I have to say at this point. There may be more at some other point, but today we're going to rest on where we stand procedurally, which is this was a continuance of arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for an arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January. We'll see you then.
Why did you delay it? Why did you delay it? Why did you want to delay it?
Family helping pay the expense?
All right, so that was Alan Jackson, the attorney, the defense attorney for Nick Reiner, the son of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner, who were found dead in their homes by their daughter just a couple days ago. He's now facing double murder charges, and we're going to get an update from that CNN reporter on the scene here in just a second who was there listening in. You saw reporters like her try to ask questions, and he just walked away. So let's see what she has to say about this.
Yeah, so it was very brief. It was very, very quick. The main thing was just disclosing whether or not they would let media into the courtroom and what could be recorded.
Having a little bit of trouble with their video there. So we're actually going to bring you back inside the courtroom from a little bit earlier where we're going to see the defense attorney see Nick Reiner for the first time since this accusation. So this is from within the last hour, this clip you're about to see.
Continuance of the arraignment. I want to get it clear at this juncture. It's too early. We've coordinated with counsel from the DA's office, and January 7th, with the court's permission, will be a convenient date for us to come back for potential arraignment.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a waiver, speedy arraignment waiver from your client.
Thank you.
Mr. Reiner, you have a constitutional and statutory right to a speedy arraignment. Your counsel is requesting that your arraignment be continued to January 7, 2026. Do you waive your right to a speedy arraignment so that your arraignment can be heard on January 7, 2026? And does counsel join in the waiver?
I join, Your Honor.
The court finds that the defendant has made a knowing and intelligent waiver of his right to a speedy arraignment, and that is counsel joins in that waiver. Matter set January 7, 2026 for arraignment in this department. Bail to stand at no bail. Anything further on that case?
Not by the defense, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, we are.
All right, so that was a look inside the courtroom from just a little bit ago where Nick Reiner making his first appearance in court after the official charges came in last night from the LA District Attorney where he's now officially charged with the double murder of his parents, famous director Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner, a photographer also known for her work in the entertainment world. So obviously heartbreaking, sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood, especially given how close people knew this family. So we're going to take, I believe, a quick break now and come back in about 2 minutes with some more, not just on this, but some of the other local stories that we're following. So stick with us. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. We just brought you to the court case of Nick Reiner. That was happening just within the last hour, and we did hear from his defense attorney. We want to bring you now to something happening live. Fannie Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, she is dealing with something that a lot of other people in politics are dealing with right now, this whole election interference accusation against Donald Trump. These are now going in front of committees. So this one out of Georgia, she's in front of a GOP committee right now investigating her involvement in this. Of course, she's defending herself against these accusations, and her defense is calling it political in motivation. They're in a break right now. We brought this to you a little bit earlier, so we're going to bring you back to the moments that you missed from this while we were in Charlotte today. So take a listen in.
At my office, but I was unable to look for talent for a case that didn't exist before I took office. It's factually impossible. It's common sense. You don't need to be a lawyer.
I'm going to read you some additional testimony. I'll try to put it on the screen.
You can read me as much as you want, but
I will. Thank you, Madam DA. And I apologize. I did not intend to have to get into this here. What was when Mr. Wade says that there was an interview on line 13, as you'll see here, this is prior to you entering office. What were you interviewing him for?
I didn't interview him prior to him entering office. He had a thriving law practice. Even when he ends up being offered the position, he doesn't want it.
Okay, now so it's your testimony today that you and Mr. Wade did not have any conversations prior to you taking office relative to an investigation into the 2020 election.
Don't answer that. That is a privilege of what goes on in a district attorney's mind and the process that goes.
She wasn't district attorney.
She was.
Prior to being sworn in, she was district attorney?
No, she was not, but you asked.
I'll return to my question. Prior to you being sworn in as district attorney, is it your testimony today that you did not have any conversation with Mr. Wade about investigating the 2020 election?
Do you want to answer?
It's a dumbass question.
I know it is, but go ahead and tell him because it occurred after she took office, but go
I didn't know that he was going to commit a crime prior to me taking office. Like, factually, it's impossible.
Okay, thank you. Would you agree with the statement? Actually, I'll skip that question. When did you decide to hire, outside of your office, a special assistant district attorney for this election case?
Oh, Lord. So when I became the district attorney of Fulton County, the office was in absolute chaos. I have to take you back. Can you hear me?
It's a little. I was going to try to turn you up if you don't mind leaning forward.
When I became the district attorney of Fulton County, the office was in absolute chaos, and I mean every level of chaos. On the ground, the carpet was molded and there were holes in it, and it was disgusting, a disgusting environment. There were boxes in offices, some to where you couldn't open the door. I remember walking through the office before. I told you I'd fired 50 or 60, I don't know exactly how many employees that I felt were unqualified to do this work. That doesn't mean they were bad people, but they were unqualified for the positions that they held. There were 18,000, write that down, 18,000 unindicted cases that went back 6 or 7 years that I was looking at. Not to mention another, 10,000 indicted cases in the system. Now, some that the judges had hid on judicial hold, but they were still there. So the office was in absolute chaos. And then I'm in the office I came in that Saturday, so that would have been day one. That was the day that I walked through the office. And I'm literally in the office that Monday or Tuesday. I can't recall now what day it is. And there's this phone call and the Secretary of State saying, oh, the proper venue to investigate this might be Fulton County. And so my priority became, and this is important too, there were 200 and something murders that had been sitting for years, families that had been waiting for justice for years. And so when I come to be the district attorney, my first responsibility is just getting the office properly set up. In fact, one of the most important roles I held up that I tried to find was the head of the civil rights lawyer. So when Brian Watkins walked into my office and actually interviewed to come there because he was not with the old administration, that was like a gift from God that I had a lawyer that had enough experience and would be talented enough and ethical enough and have the integrity to do this work. But my primary job was getting the entire office set up. So I immediately do things like set up a murder backlog project. And I put Mike Carlson and Michael Sprinkle in charge of that. We're going to get every family's going to get an answer. They may not like the answer. The answer may be we can't prosecute this, but we're not going to sit with cases. We got to make decisions on these cases. And it took us years to get through that, but we did. And I'm happy to sit here and announce to you every one of those 18,000 cases, a decision got made on to include those 101 police cases I talked about, as well as the 46,100 and I think 36 cases that came in January 1st, 2021 till December 31st of 2024. So while people tell these lies about the DA ain't been working, I want you to find a DA working as hard as me.
My question was, when did you decide to hire outside counsel, a special assistant district attorney, for the election interference case?
When it became obvious that this case would take so much investigation to learn the truth, and that I would need people that could focus on that. And although I had talent in the office that was being developed, each and every member of my staff had a priority. See, this is the most important case to you. Let me tell you what the most important case was to me. When I walked in the office, there had been 2 black children that had been killed, Sequoia Turner and Kennedy Liddy Maxwell. Those were the two most important cases to me as the DA. And I needed to make sure that those families got justice, but the cases didn't come with a bow on them. In fact, one of the cases was particularly not done properly. And so my priority became making sure I had the talent to make sure we got all of those cases done. If you're wondering, both those men are doing life right now for taking those children from us.
Certainly aware of the case in the autonomous zone and everything that happened back in that tragic time frame. So definitely appreciate those murderers being behind bars. So you didn't really give me a date range, but we'll just move on here. But you did consider Governor Barnes for this role. He's testified to that previously.
And let me tell you what Governor Barnes told me. Governor Barnes told me when he was the governor, he changed the state flag from the Confederate flag, and that as a result of him changing the Confederate flag to changing the flag to make it more inclusive to all Georgians, that the Ku Klux Klan sat outside his house and that he lived under threat during that time period. He told me that him and his beautiful wife had survived that, but that he was an older gentleman now. I'm going to say that nicely. He was an older gentleman, and due to the nuts that would come out of the woodwork if I was doing this type of work, that he was not at a juncture in his life where he could take those kind of security risks. He also refused to work for $250 an hour.
I can attest to that.
We've got some question in here, Governor, on your rates, and we'll get to that in a little bit. You did, Madam DA, you considered several attorneys for this case in addition to Mr. Barnes?
I did.
And ultimately, you selected Mr. Wade to oversee the anti-corruption unit. Is that correct?
He never oversaw the anti-corruption unit.
I'm sorry, my apologies, to oversee the elections interference case.
To manage, yes.
How would you delineate manage versus my choice of oversee?
They're the same.
Okay. What happened between January 2021, I believe that's when the phone call was that you referenced, in November 2021, which was the time that Mr. Wade signed his first contract? What type of work happened within any area of your office in terms of gathering evidence or considering whether or not to bring these charges?
You want me to answer? Not particularly. I don't think it's any of their business.
You're getting into why a grand jury returns a bill of indictment. That is a deliberative process wrapped in the discretion of the district attorney. We're not going to get, I'm going to instruct her not to answer. Wait just a minute. Let me finish. You can, if you see fit, you can seek to enforce that question, at which time she would be entitled to a jury trial in Fulton County, and I would be able to cross-examine you with each one of you with a real judge ruling on real law. But until that happens, I'm going to instruct her not to answer.
So on your advice of counsel, you're asserting privilege?
I'm telling her not to answer.
I'm clarifying with the
She
witness.
doesn't have to answer that. I'm not a potted plant. I can answer.
You can advise. You can absolutely advise your client, Governor Barnes. I'm asking your
I
client.
suggest you move on.
I'm asking your client if you are asserting privilege on the answer to the question.
I made the objection on the record, and told you even what you can do to enforce it.
What was the total cost of the election interference case?
I don't recall, but if we want to talk about cost, I'd love to talk about how last year alone the AG paid one lawyer $8 million.
You don't know what the cost of you don't know the cost of the election interference case?
I don't know the exact cost.
What's the range?
I don't want to speculate to numbers. Whatever it cost, they tried to steal the rights of thousands of Georgians. It couldn't have been enough.
What was the rough total operating budget of your office last year?
I don't know that. It's probably around $40 million. That's a speculation and a guess. That includes state money, grant money, and that's not an exact number. I don't do the budget. I have very high-level conversations about that.
All right, so you were just hearing from Fulton County Attorney Fani Willis discussing her stance on this accusation that Trump engaged in a scheme to overturn the 2020 election results. At the same time, in D.C., Jack Smith, former special counsel, is facing similar lines of questioning from a U.S. congressional committee. Now, that has a closed camera situation, so we're not allowed to see inside of it, but we are getting our first explanation from a congressperson there about what that looks like inside.
I just came out of the deposition of Jack Smith. The first thing I will say is that it is absolutely absurd that the chairman is not having this testimony in public. The American people should hear for themselves whether or not the accusations that Donald Trump and Republicans have been making about misconduct by Donald Trump, they should hear that themselves. Jack Smith is an upstanding prosecutor. He never used any political bias. He never made any political considerations. He made that very clear. The accusations against him are complete bogus, and the American people should hear that for themselves.
Can you give us a sense as to what transpired? Was the majority the only ones who asked questions? The minority getting cracked at this?
No, there were 2 hours of questions. The majority asked an hour, and the minority asked an hour.
Do you think that they are attempting, is there an attempt to get him on some sort of a technicality or a misstep or a misstatement to create a potential criminal referral? Do you have a sense that the majority is trying to point this towards the Justice Department?
I'm sure the majority is using this in whatever way they can. More likely is to selectively release parts of the transcript to create some false inference of improper conduct. The fact of the matter is the special counsel made abundantly clear that the lengthy and extensive investigations that resulted in very detailed indictments would have resulted in convictions at trial. He also made very clear that the volume 2 of the special counsel's report is only not being released because the judge in Florida refuses to authorize its release. That is absolutely unacceptable for her to sit on such a basic request for almost a year now. And he also made clear, by the way, that the 2 additional cases against Donald Trump's co-defendants had no reason to be dismissed, even though Donald Trump's Justice Department dismissed those as soon as he came into office. There was no basis on the evidence or the facts or the law to dismiss those cases, but Donald Trump clearly did that to conceal his own misconduct.
Congressman, would you say that this hearing is even viable today without having that second report here before your committee? I mean, what would you say about the viableness of this entire thing without having that second report?
I will say this. This is the only special counsel who's not been afforded a public hearing. That is the only special counsel's report that has not been made public, or at least provided to Congress, and that is very intentional by this administration. This testimony by the special counsel should be in public, and I demand that the chairman have a subsequent public hearing so that the American people can hear what the special counsel said, so they can see his demeanor, and so they can understand that someone who has prosecuted thousands of cases in a completely impartial way did the same thing here, and that the only reason that Donald Trump did not go to trial and was not convicted is because of the Supreme Court and because of the timing of it and him becoming president. He is guilty of those 2 indictments, and no bias or anything else ever was involved.
What reason have you been given as to why it's not public?
What was given, this is about volume 2, is right now the judge has still prohibited it from being public, but none of the reasons that previously existed for that still remain. The thing I wanted to mention is that
You were just listening in to the insights from inside the Jack Smith hearing, but we wanted to interrupt for a bit of breaking news. This is live pictures out of Chicago after suspects fleeing from police crash after weaving through traffic. You can see here that police are kind of investigating the area. These are some aerial views, and we're trying to get a look at the actual crash site.
Right now we can listen into.
Let's take a listen.
So people can survive outside a little longer than they may have been able to do a week ago. There's a lot going on in this neighborhood. I'm just looking, there's a mail truck doing deliveries. There are businesses just south of here, and then you've got residences all throughout here. This about a half a mile square area. Again, all of this kind of is bordered by the tracks. All right, so I'm going to get more information here and give you a pause.
So James has pulled up a map for us to see exactly where this happened for those of you familiar with Chicago. I'm going to read what we know so far, that this started on Chicago's west side, this high-speed police chase. It continued for several minutes through the south side. This vehicle, police say, went the wrong way down some of the city's busiest streets, and that's where the crash happened, more on the south side. This is towards kind of near the Midway Airport, I believe. You can see here, James has pulled up this flight tracker where you can kind of see the region.
Yeah, so we have downtown Chicago in the top right portion of your screen. I'm going to zoom in. We can see aircraft, including the helicopters in the area. As Julie mentioned, we're real near Chicago Midway International Airport. We are just a few blocks from Marquette Park, and so the news helicopter that is giving us the live pictures is among the several helicopters that are circling here in this area, again, between Marquette Park and Chicago Midway Airport, real near some train tracks and a train yard here in a highly populated area of Chicago.
Yeah, really interesting too. And I don't believe we've actually seen the crashed vehicle yet from these pictures. We're just seeing the police presence, helicopter now moving around, showing the scene that James was just mentioning. So you can kind of see the area.
This might be the crashed vehicle right here.
That is the vehicle. Yeah. Wow. Into what looks to be like some sort of warehouse building, more off the beaten path. I know that this vehicle, police say, went down a lot of the main roads, so this crash, it appears, happened more away from the populated areas. I think the helicopter is speaking again.
A little bit. Come out wider, and then wide enough so we can see 71st and Pulaski, a little bit to the right. So to the right there, that's where 71st dead ends. In that upper right-hand corner at 71st and Pulaski. The vehicle came from 71st all the way from pretty much the Dan Ryan. Probably didn't realize this was a dead end. Went into this dead end street, came around to the back of this, what I'm going to assume is an abandoned industrial area. There is a strip mall at 71st and Pulaski, but here, behind this building, maybe it's not abandoned, but crashed and bailed there. So, Jack, if you can go back to where the vehicle crashed. Right.
And the rest of the information that we know so far is that police are still looking for those suspects. As we've said, they fled after this crash. They believe 3 suspects that ran away. So the police are currently searching for those people now. That's what you saw earlier, and this is the first look at the actual crash site that we're getting. So we're going to bring you back to this as we learn some more information. But first, we're going to take a break and come back to some more of our local news in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News, 1 p.m. on the dot, and I want to let you know that we are awaiting that measles press conference out of South Carolina with health officials, so that should be happening any minute now, but we're going to get to some other stuff first while we wait for that to begin. First things first, though, we want to plug parades around the Piedmont on WCNC Plus. So if you joined us last night, James and I were here talking about the Belmont Christmas Parade that aired at 9:30. Tonight, that is the Concord Christmas Parade at 9:30. Before that, you're going to have Panthers on Plus. So Nick is going to be breaking down everything you need to know ahead of the Panthers game against the Bucks. Obviously a big game. That's going to be at 9 p.m. as I mentioned on WCNC Plus with the parade right after. President Donald Trump is speaking tonight, so we're going to carry that at 9 p.m. on NBC as well as on our secondary stream. So you'll be able to choose which one you want to tune into. For now, though, I think, is that measles that's up and
Don't have audio just yet if we want to go back maybe to...
Yeah. We know that measles is beginning. We don't have audio yet, so while we wait for that to happen, Fannie Willis is officially back after their break, so we're going to take a live look from inside this hearing.
But again, you're asking me to speculate?
Yeah.
I never saw the bills. I don't see the invoices. And that's a good point of clarification. Several documents have been put up this morning. I can't attest to the accuracy of any of them. In fact, it is clear that some of them have been augmented, and they're not authenticated documents. So no document that's been shown here today has been authenticated, and it's clear that some of them have been altered. But whether they've been altered or haven't been altered, it was my first time seeing them.
Right. In any event, however a person wants to get the billing or not, would you think that this is actually a good way for us to come up with a recommendation on how local DAs or solicitors should actually try to do their billing for outside counsel, that the Georgia General Assembly should decide this is how we should do our billing practices?
What I think is that the voters should elect ethical district attorneys, and that those district attorneys should do the things that are needed to make their communities safer, and that I always like the idea of, for me, I don't think it's necessary for every DA, but I liked that the county looked at our documents. I didn't have to do that, but I knew I was a black DA. I knew I was the first woman DA, and so I took extra precautions because I understand what that means.
Absolutely. And you also want, I think, kind of clarify on this White House trip where you're saying you were actually on the lawn. I didn't know if you want to
I was not at the White House,
right.
And so that has been a lie that has been purported by members of this committee. That what happened is, I know we don't like to talk about Black history, right? We want to get rid of Black history museums. We want to get rid of, and I want to say this, we want to get rid of free admissions to parks on Juneteenth and on Martin Luther King's birthday. But I'll let you know something. I appreciate our president because he made free admissions to parks on my birthday. So I do appreciate that. Hopefully King Petty don't get rid of that day. But right now you can get into a federal park on my birthday for free. Now, with that being said, that was a party celebrating Black History Month. And I was so excited to get the invitation. And leaders from all across the country literally came to not the White House, because I never went to the White House on that trip, and I think I was there like 24 hours. It was at the vice president's house, but not actually at her house. It was in a tent on the lawn. Quite frankly, while we were there, I never got a chance even to meet the vice president, which was disappointing. I thought, you have all these people from all over the country there. You would like kind of do an assembly line and sign and, everybody take a picture, but that did not even occur. She did come on the stage at one point with her Secret Service all around her. I don't know what was going on, but Secret Service was all around her. But it was still a very valuable trip because I got to meet leaders from all over the country that were trying to service their communities. And so I was honored that I was thought to be a leader worthy of having an invitation to that event.
Thank you. And there was also a question about whether, Judge Wade had met with somebody from a January 6th committee and things of that nature. But let me ask you this, whether that took place or not, and there's a question about that, but whether that took place or not, would that have any relevance to the co-conspirators in this case who are going around from state to different states making up stuff about the 2020 election and actually trying to do the things that they were trying to do in this case?
We based our case on what we investigated. And as someone from the South and as a black woman, I've taken a lot of offense to this because there's been this indication that I'm not smart enough or people from the South aren't smart enough to be able to do this type of complex investigation. We did it. It was my team who did it. We did it all. And Dolezal, I hope that I pronounced your name right because I want Senator Dolezal, asked about ethics. I think he should know if we want a full picture of ethics that Judge McBurney, who he just mentioned, one of the fake electors threw him a fundraiser. So while we having facts, I want to make sure we get all the facts out here.
And when we're talking about also with, Judge Wade and billing and things of that nature, did that cause at all, I think the record would show that the vice president's personal attorney, based on what these conspirators actually were doing, actually called a former federal judge and said, you need to send out a tweet to say that Vice President Pence must actually certify this election because he was so concerned that there might be denied a certification coming January 6th. Anything about this billing have any impact on any of that kind of thing taking place at all?
Nothing about this billing can bring back the 5 lives that were lost on January 6th, to include, I understand that 4 were people that were in the mob, but they didn't deserve to lose their lives. 1 is very personal to me because it was a police officer just trying to serve. And here goes another example of a good American, and this is not about parties as you all have tried to make it. They tried to kill our Vice President Pence. Now, I probably have never agreed politically with anything Pence said, but what I do know is he has a right to do his job and to be free from harm. And we're trying to, we say we're not for violent crime, but we sure like violent criminals if it's helping our cause.
And we also talked about, what is it called, critical measures? Or mentions, critical mentions. So even discussing that, would critical mentions actually have anything to do with the fact that just yesterday, as a matter of fact, 2 former co-conspirators, because the case has been dismissed, I think Mr. Roman and Mr. Cheeseborough, just yesterday in Wisconsin, was held to answer charges, 4 felony charges, for actually creating a fake elector program that was similar to what was prosecuted right here in Georgia. That they're going to be felony charges facing those, and there were 2 conspirators in this particular case who had the same kind of scheme. Anything about his billing or anything about critical mentions have anything to do with the fact that 2 persons that were indicted in your case, right now, just yesterday, a judge in Wisconsin said you're going to face charges, 11 charges, based on similar scheme that took place in Georgia.
No, and it should be noted that Roman was indicted in 3 separate states, and that many of the co-defendants were indicted in separate states because, and let's be clear so the record is clear, in my indictment in Arizona, they indicted John Eastman, Gina Ellis, Ruben Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and Mike Roman. Mike Roman was represented by Merchant, who came here and testified. In Wisconsin, they also indicted Cheeseborough and Roman. And so, we could go on and on about, in the federal case had only 1 defendant, Donald Trump, but he was also indicted in my case. So these defendants committed crimes in our state and other states, and there's all this talk about political enemies. Not one of these defendants do I consider to be my political enemy. I'm sorry that they think of me as an enemy. I guess they don't know that their job is to serve me, to work for me, to make life better for me and my family, but they are not my political enemy, and I actually pray for them because I see issues.
And also within Wisconsin, the quote-unquote fake electors there actually got sued, and the discovery in that case was over 577 pages. Now, you didn't get to the discovery process in your particular case, but I'm just curious because we were talking about Mr. Scandalakis and how deep he got into your case. How voluminous was your case at the time it stopped?
Huge, much of this room it could fill up, if not all of this room. It was huge. It was lots of witnesses that had to do a lot of work was put into this, because I always want to make sure that I am a fair DA, and that's why you see a grand jury recommending 39 people based on their conduct being indicted, and me cutting it down to 19, because I'm only going to put forth those with the worst evidence who did the worst things. But I'm also a fighter for victims, and and I was fighting for the victims in this case. And the fact that, to some prosecutors, Ruby Freeman and her daughter have no value, she has value to me, and she should have value to other Americans, because what happened to her is horrible. And for someone to say they couldn't prosecute a defendant who came in a room and lied for the grand jury, I mean, a baby prosecutor could have prosecuted it, but, that's neither here nor there.
And lastly, where we're talking about billing being correct or things of that nature, or critical mentions, does any of that change the impact, I think, what these co-conspirators were doing based on the indictment, that the ultimate goal was to overthrow the 2020 election?
That was the ultimate goal. And we've had people that are supposed to be leaders that instead of being leaders are just cowering down. This country needs leaders, not cowards.
I don't have anything else, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leader Jones. I've got a few more questions here. Some of this, Madam DA, will be a little bit more, philosophical manner. I want to get your take on some of the testimony that we've had prior to your arrival around some of the state laws. You've shared some of your thoughts already on some of those things. But one thing that we've talked a lot about in the committee is the use of special purpose grand juries. Can you, for the benefit of those watching, outline the difference between a grand jury and a special purpose grand jury?
Special purpose grand jury is for the purpose of investigating. They are not legally allowed to put forth an indictment. And so that is what a special purpose grand jury is for.
So, and you referenced this earlier, the process of going to 2 grand juries. In your case, with the use of the special purpose grand jury, you went from that special purpose, which was used for investigatory means that you mentioned, and then ended up ultimately with a grand jury. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. It's been described to me that a grand jury exists to essentially put a check on prosecutorial power, to require the prosecutor to have to prove some element of grounds to bring an indictment. Would you agree with that statement?
It's one way to phrase it.
How would you phrase it?
That a grand jury is made up of citizens, that the citizens are brought there. I'm the only DA in the state. I do grand jury 4 days a week. So I have an A grand jury. It runs on Monday and Tuesday. And I have a B grand jury. It runs on Thursday and Friday. And we bring forth cases to the grand jury. We're usually law enforcement, but sometimes lay witnesses testify. If the grand jury finds that there is adequate evidence, they will put forth an indictment. It should be known by the general public that not all felonies require an indictment. Some of your lower level felonies you can do by accusation, just like you could do a misdemeanor. But for any serious felony, you need to go to the grand jury.
You may have touched on this, and I'm just going to ask you to, in the context of this conversation, outline it again if you don't mind. What was the reason for the use of a special purpose grand jury in this election case?
To investigate, to make sure. I took this matter very seriously. I was not just going to charge people with a crime before I found evidence. And sadly, a lot of people in government, the governor and other officials, refused to testify unless they had a subpoena. Well, I can't get a subpoena unless I have a special purpose grand jury. And so we served them with subpoenas, and they honored their subpoenas, and they came forward.
So with the grand jury for out-of-state witnesses, there's no way to get, for a regular grand jury, to get a subpoena?
For a regular grand jury, but by the time you're before a regular grand jury, you're indicting. And I didn't go into this case knowing that there would even be an indictment brought forth.
Tell me about a material witness warrant, what the process is to get one, and when one would be used.
When someone won't cooperate, you have to go get one.
Do you have to get one for all out-of-state witnesses unless you're using a grand jury? I'm sorry, a special purpose grand jury?
You can get a material witness warrant for a witness in a trial. We have had to get material witness warrants for someone in a trial. So I don't know that I understand your question, but basically when someone will not cooperate, it requires you to go get a warrant. Typically you have to send someone to that state. They have to testify as to why this person is material. Then the judge there makes a determination, yes, they are material. They sign the warrant, they come down. That's very brief, but that gives you kind of the gist of what a material witness warrant has been used. I've used them many times in my career.
My understanding is essentially you need 2 judges. What sounds like one's the out-of-state judge, one would be a Georgia judge to compel that testimony. Is that accurate?
Because they have to make a determination that it's actually material.
And with a special purpose grand jury, you have the ability to send essentially a letter and a warrant to whomever you wish and compel them to testify without the process of going through the material witness warrant. Is that accurate?
Yeah, again, we're getting into the weeds. We needed a special purpose grand jury because I need to be able to issue subpoenas. So you can issue subpoenas from the grand jury to bring the people there to testify. And so if you're asking that we do that process, you know, we fought in every court in this land. Lindsey Graham took us all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, who unanimously, I believe, I think it was unanimously voted that he would have to come in to appear.
We are getting...
You've been listening into this hearing with Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis, but also wanted to point out other things that we are watching in that bottom left corner. That suspect search is still underway in Chicago after a high-speed police chase through the west side and south side of the city. That car has crashed and 3 people left. Police are still looking for them. Up in the top left corner, of course, that's a live look at the White House as we await President Trump's primetime speech tonight from the Oval Office. Lots to get to today, lots of breaking news. So we're going to take a quick break and come back in 2 minutes with more stories that we're going to follow. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Julie Kay here. It's 1:18, and we want to bring you to a story from just a little while ago. Of course, North Carolina, the DMV is a big talker, not just those wait times, but the backlog of things they have to get to and the lack of people working there to help that. So Governor Stein was actually at a ceremony earlier today where they graduated 150 new license examiners that they say is going to help with that backlog. I know anything that might help is kind of a relief for people who live in North Carolina. So we're going to get to that where Governor Stein spoke just a little while ago.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Good.
How awesome was Crystal? Good morning, everybody. This is a happy day, and it is my honor to be with you as we celebrate this milestone. Crystal, that introduction was wonderful, and thank you for sharing your story. Somebody who spends 20 years serving this country in the military. She didn't get her fill of public service enough, so now she's serving the people of North Carolina at the DMV. Crystal, thank you so much. I want to give a special word of thanks to the commissioner, Paul Tyne. He has been on the job for the past 7 months, and he dove in head first to trying to make this the best customer service organization facing the people of the state. He's been leading Team DMV to improve driver's license services here in North Carolina. Just one example of his leadership is you. You all are the largest DMV graduating class ever, so thank you. And to North Carolina's 149 new driver's license examiners, I congratulate you. Serving in state government, I expect you will find, particularly serving in the DMV, because you interact with our people more than most public servants do, it is a special calling. Like many other roles in state government, not every day do you feel appropriately appreciated. People don't always have a happy experience when they're dealing with their government. But the work that you do is essential for North Carolina. You keep the traveling public safe. You get people back on the road. You connect folks to jobs and opportunities, to family and friends. And as a result, you keep our state moving forward. Let me be among the first to thank you for choosing this career path. Hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians visit the DMV each year. Whether they're new drivers or recent transplants, they deserve to be able to take care of their business quickly and efficiently and get on with their day. That's what we want. That's what I want. That's what you want. So I want to use this chance to lift up some of the work that Commissioner Tyne and the whole DMV team have been doing to move us closer to that goal, to get us where we want, where people come in, take care of the business, go out, and go on with their day. Last month, the DMV released its updated 5-year strategic plan and its updated staffing plan. These plans are guiding the organization toward becoming an exceptional customer service organization. We're already seeing a number of small wins that are smoothing out people's DMV experiences. Just this fall, I signed a piece of legislation, Senate Bill 245, which enables more people to get their license renewed online. In just 2 months, 80,000 North Carolinians have taken advantage of that. That's 80,000 people who before had to go to a DMV office and get in line with all the other people, slowing everybody down. Now those people take care of their business at home. They're happy because it's easier on them. And how about the people who did have to go to the office? They're happy they're not waiting behind 80,000 people in front of them. It was a good move. This graduating class, you are another testament to our combined efforts. 64 positions were authorized, new positions, in addition to the ones we already had with the DMV, were authorized by another bipartisan piece of legislation, House Bill 125. I signed that into law in August. That created 64 new positions. Those 64 positions, I don't know which one of you are in those positions, but you're here, in addition to some already existing positions. The point is that the folks at DMV have been working hard. They had the same number of people for I don't know how many years as our state went from 7 million people to 8 million people to 9 million. We're 11 million people. We cannot have the same number of staff serving that many more people. We had to have you all grow as the population has grown. And you may not realize this because this was your first training and you successfully accomplished it, but your training was different than what other trainings in the past have been. It was both more efficient and better tailored to meet the needs of the job than previous versions. So what we've done is shrunk the timeline from the time when you are hired to the time when you can get on the job. Again, that's good because the more you're on the job in the office at your desk, the more people who come into that office who can get served. We have a long way to go. We know this. We're not done yet, but there has been a great deal of progress. Strengthening Team DMV is a team effort. We've got a great Team DMV, and I want to thank the General Assembly for its partnership, for helping us to make it even greater. I want to thank Commissioner Tyne for his leadership. I want to thank the many DMV employees already on the team who are working hard every day. And boy, they're going to be the happiest ones to see you because you can come in there and help share the load. And I want to thank you, the graduates sitting in front of me, for stepping up and saying yes to serving the people of North Carolina. You will make a difference in people's daily lives. in their work, in their ability to travel, and above all, and how they feel about the state of North Carolina's government. So let's show them that we work for them. We know that. And we work hard for the people of North Carolina. And let's make sure that they understand that. So today represents an important accomplishment in your career path. I want to congratulate you for that. I'm rooting for your success, and I wish you hearty congratulations. Thank you so much.
You're just listening into Governor Josh Stein congratulating the 150 new graduates that are going to be able to help out at the DMV, get through those license backlogs. So definitely some good news. And we have our Bria Smith working on that report for later today at 5 and 6 to see how that will make things run a little bit smoother at the DMV. I know people will probably be very excited to hear about that. We do, though, want to get to a serious breaking news story out of Rowan County. This is the mugshot of a former Rowan County School Resource Officer who has now been arrested and charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. So investigators say that this man, 35-year-old Austin Tyler Moore of Cleveland, is now charged with 4 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. Once the school and the police department were notified of the investigation by detectives, they say he was removed that day from his assignment at the school. They say no evidence was found to suggest that any student at North Rowan Elementary School or any other Rowan Salisbury school system school was a victim of his alleged crimes here. He was arrested today and placed in Rowan County Detention Center under a $100,000 bond. So we're going to stick with this story, of course. Awful charges here, and hopefully we'll be getting an update soon from Rowan County officials and from the school on what the next steps are in this case. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. We wanted to make sure again that you are reminded of our parades around the Piedmont segment. We're going to have every day until Christmas at 9:30. So if you missed Belmont Christmas Parade last night, you can come back tonight for the Concord Christmas Parade. Before that, Nick Carboni is going to be walking us through the updates on the Panthers, looking ahead to that Bucks game. That's going to be a really, really big deal on Sunday, of course, for their chances at the playoff. We do want to note that, yes, President Donald Trump is is speaking tonight around the same time as well. So we're going to carry that, of course, on NBC and on our secondary stream channel. So you have an option to either stick with Nick and the parade or the Trump speech here on WCNC Plus. Speaking of holidays, though, it is a little chilly outside. Definitely warmer, though, than it has been the past couple days. Let's get a forecast from Becca Birdsall, though, because we are expecting some rain as well.
Good Wednesday afternoon. We have come a long way since the bitterly cold temperatures that we saw on Monday. Today, that warming trend continues. We'll just do it with extra cloud cover out there, especially across the greater Charlotte area. It's still going to be a mild day, especially compared to a December average. We'll be a few degrees above that for this afternoon. It is going to remain rain-free, our last rain-free day before we start to see wet weather move in for Thursday. This is going to be alongside a cold front that will bring us some gusty winds on Friday, and then we're also looking ahead to the warmest day as we go into your Sunday and this weekend. High temperatures, again, about 2 degrees above what they were for yesterday afternoon. It's not a huge warm up because of the clouds. Upper 50s is what we'll do across the greater Charlotte area, and lower 50s for those higher elevations. Tonight will be great for any Christmas activities. Maybe you're headed out to McAdenville Lights, Christmastown, USA. We'll carry the clouds, but you don't have to worry about that rain gear. It will be dropping into the upper 40s right around 8 o'clock. And then here comes the wet weather. Starting Thursday in the morning hours, we'll see a few showers roll in, really ramping up for the afternoon and evening. Accumulations will be nearing about an inch of rainfall across the Piedmont. But like I mentioned, behind that cold front that is going to bring us the round of rain is some gusty winds expected for Friday. But the highest wind gust will be up in the mountains. So this is a look at Futurecast. Again, Thursday looks wet. We've got widespread rain in the forecast. Here's why. High pressure system moves off, and then here comes that low pressure system, travels across the Great Lakes, and a big associated cold front with it. And that's what's going to drive in all those rain showers our direction. Thursday morning, 7 o'clock, if you're headed out to work or school, just a few light showers out there. So for the most part, roads will be dry. It's towards the late morning we start to see this pick up, passing showers expected, but this increases in coverage and a little bit of intensity for the afternoon and evening. That's a look at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is going to be a much more messy commute than the morning hours. Pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall embedded with the system, but a lot of us will just see some light showers. We'll continue this into early Friday. Once that cold front pushes off, it's going to dry us off, but that northwest wind will produce some snow accumulations up towards the high country. Very light to a dusting is expected. Again, we'll have a chance to pick up around an inch across the greater Charlotte area, but higher up in elevation, especially along and north of I-40, lower accumulations expected, especially around a quarter. So far this month, Charlotte has picked up over an inch of rainfall. The average for the month is about 3.5. So we are getting close to the halfway point of December, and really this is our big rainmaker as we go into the next 7 days. So we will take any drop that we can get. Once the rain moves off, big story is going to be these winds. It's going to be quite breezy here in the Charlotte area, starting early Friday morning, 25 to 35 miles per hour. But up in the mountains, especially going later in on Friday afternoon, 40 to 50 miles per hour can be expected. And while everyone else will have calm winds Friday night, the mountains will be still breezy. This weekend, once everything clears out, looks absolutely fantastic. The weekend before Christmas, it's going to be a chilly start for both mornings in the lower to middle 30s. Highs a little bit cooler for Saturday, upper 50s, but back into the lower 60s for our Sunday. And of course, we are looking ahead towards our Christmas forecast. So here's a preview. Tuesday going to be a chilly start, 30s and 40s, but highs in the middle 50s. By Christmas Eve, 67 degrees. It's over 10 degrees above the normal high for this time of year. And warmer weather will continue for Christmas Day as well, looking at a high temperature of 65 degrees in this Jerry Head Supercenter 7-day forecast. So unfortunately, no white Christmas, but you can't complain about 65 degrees and mostly sunny for Christmas. As we go over the next couple of days, we'll see those temperatures stay in the upper 50s, a warm up coming for Sunday.
All right, that was Becca Birdsall with your weekend forecast. Switching gears now, though, to some education news. Of course, we know that Charlotte is growing fast, particularly those areas in northern Mecklenburg County. So there's a new school to help accommodate that. Walker Lawson joins us here in the studio. So, Walker, what is this school? Where is it? What do we know so far?
Yeah, so CMS obviously passed a bond back in 2023. It's about $2.5 billion. This will go towards building this new middle school on Stumptown Road in Huntersville. So this is to help alleviate the congestion that they're seeing for Davidson K through 8, schools like Bailey Middle School, as well as JM Alexander. And so they just recently went and spoke to residents in the community and kind of showed renderings of what this school is going to look like. It's set to open in August of 2028, but they have some features they're working on with security, making sure there's a limited number of entrances, looking at windows that students can look out but no one can look in. So different safety measures, but they're also just kind of, letting people know this school is in the works and that there will also be other improvements coming later down the pipeline for North Mecklenburg High School. There'll be other improvements for Cornelius Elementary, which is kind of later down the road that they're looking at. So just overall trying to address the growth that's happening in the area.
Those security improvements are really interesting. Would those, those windows you mentioned, the security measures, be the improvements that come to the high school and elementary school, or is that not clear yet?
So I'm not sure exactly what that looks like yet. They said that, and even the school board member that we spoke to said this is still, the renderings are still being done for even this school. So they presented some to local community members, but they're still fine-tuning the details and really wanting to make sure that they're taking what they've learned from past years and applying them into the future. I couldn't see this school getting those benefits and these new schools not getting it.
I know that they got a chance to speak with a lot of people in the community. Anything that they heard from parents, from families in particular?
Yeah, so I'll speak for myself for living in that community. Obviously, a new school's needed. Bailey Middle School is very overcrowded from my perspective of driving on the roadways there.
Sure.
It's traffic is definitely difficult. When I went to Bailey and Huff High School, that road is just a pinch point. And as you're seeing new developments popping up left and right, new homes, new communities similar to Birkdale and things happening, this is something that's needed to address that issue. Of course, you're going to get people that feel it might be a little too late. There might be people that feel differently about location. Always location's going to come with question marks no matter where you build something.
Sure.
It's something covering development I've learned. People don't want it in their backyard, but might want it somewhere else. So it's needed. People want that in the area, probably want more schools, honestly, if you were to ask them. But it's interesting because even when I was talking to a council member in Cornelius about development and growth, this council member had said to me, Cornelius is getting to a point where we don't really have much more land to build on. So it's going to be interesting in the future, I think years from now towards 2030, kind of seeing, are some of these areas maxing out with growth and kind of. So I'm sure this school will help accommodate growth in the area, but they wanted to reiterate and make sure people know, they're not building a new school in Davidson. This is going in Huntersville to help alleviate schools in Davidson and Cornelius.
I am curious. I know you said 2028, and some people might say that that's a bit late given how overcrowded it currently is. What are they doing now until 2028 to make room?
So they're actually moving students around through the schools. So they kind of explained that Davidson K through 8, they've moved some students to Bailey Middle School. So there are adjustments being made. Obviously, the Bailey Middle School conversation is interesting because people already feel like there's so much traffic on that road anyway, and the district is aware that there's going to have to be studies done to address traffic on Bailey Middle School as well. But there will be students moving around. I'm sure all those kids and families are familiar. Their schools have already talked to them.
I'm sure.
And they're aware of that if they're going to be impacted. But then, lines will be redrawn for where kids will go. Especially,
it's always fun.
Yeah. So, picking who will be going to new schools and what that will kind of look like is all to come a couple years from now.
Later.
At a later date, not today.
Problem for a different time.
Exactly.
You're at 4 and 5:30?
4 and 5:30, yes.
All right, Walker, thanks for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
We're going to take another quick break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with some more local and national headlines. We are coming back on the air with some breaking news, a deadly shooting in Northwest Charlotte, and we have a live picture on scene here at this very active investigation. So medic has just confirmed to us one person has been pronounced dead. This is on Trinity Road, I believe off Beatty's Ford. Is that correct, James?
That is correct.
And so you can see here that this is at some sort of, it looks like a laundromat. This happened either outside, or we don't know if it was at the business or just around it, but you can see dozens of police officers here, caution tape blocking off the entire area. Our crew on the scene there is clearly as close as they can get, but that entire lawn in front of this business, in front of this parking lot, is blocked off. Multiple police officers around, and James has pulled up a map here to see where exactly this is. As we mentioned, Northwest Charlotte.
Yeah, not too far from Interstate 77 at the Sunset Road exit, and then right there off of Beatty's Ford across from Hornets Nest Park.
We just got confirmation in the last moment here that this is now in fact a homicide investigation. So CMPD announcing that they are looking into this as a homicide, they're looking into this as a murder, so hoping to get a lot more information soon. But as we mentioned, this is just within the last few minutes that we got to the scene and that we got these confirmations, so a lot questions still to be had. So we'll continue to follow this as we learn more. But yeah, you're seeing this live as it unfolds, and I know that we'll have a crew there as they continue this investigation. James, what would we like to get to next?
So as you were talking, we got another feed in here to the Live Impact Center. We have President Trump. We have Secretary Hegseth here. We understand that shortly they are to be taking part in an honorable transfer ceremony. This will be for 2 National Guardsmen from Iowa who were killed in Syria. And so we are expecting, again, the president, who we can see on screen right here, along with the First Lady, along with Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, will be taking part in this ceremony here shortly. And as we continue to get feeds, we'll bring that to you.
Yeah, a lot happening here today, a lot of live events. So we'll give you updates as soon as we know them. We also wanted to get back to something from last night, a county commissioners meeting where they addressed some tax incentives, I believe, for SoFi, one of the businesses planning to come to the area. So let's take a listen and see what commissioners had to say last night.
It is after 6:30, so we are going to move to public hearings. This is a business location expansion. This is SoFi Technologies, Inc. Motion is needed to open the public hearing to receive comments on a proposed business investment program grant to SoFi Technologies, Inc.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. And I'll turn it over to Clay Andrews.
Good evening, Chairman Jarrell, Vice Chairman Altman, County Commissioner Bryant, and fellow commissioners and executive staff. My name is Clay Andrews. I'm with the Office of Economic Development for Mecklenburg County, and I'm here tonight to present for your consideration a business investment program grant for an economic development project for SoFi Technologies. SoFi Technologies is a pioneering fintech platform offering a holistic suite of financial services that empower members to manage, grow, and protect their wealth, supported by education and community benefits. It was founded in 2011, is now a public company. Technology and customer focused. They offer technology and customer focused solutions. They're headquartered in San Francisco. And they have offices in 14 locations in the U.S. and Hong Kong, Latin America, and Switzerland. They have an existing office in Charlotte, so this is for an expansion of a company that's already here. What they're proposing is to move their office and grow it with a $3 million new taxable investment as an office. It doesn't have a huge amount of investment associated with it, mostly office equipment. $1.2 million in real property and $1.8 million in business personal property, but it does involve 250 new employees at an average of $116,268 per year. And for this facility, Mecklenburg County was competing with Jacksonville, Florida, and Frisco, Texas. The company is currently located in South Park area. They're looking at moving to Ballantyne, 13034 Ballantyne Corporate Place in the submarket Ballantyne in Commission District number 6. So when we look at this project, the city of Charlotte was also involved along with the state of North Carolina. And between us, the package for a deal like this that predominantly is helps us with jobs more than investment. The county offered a 5-year grant, 75% for $39,354. The city of Charlotte offered a 7-year grant, 90% for $33,155. And the state offered a JDIG, Job Development Investment Grant, for $2,328,200. That JDIG is dependent upon a local match. So the total incentive package offered is just over $2,400,000. So we look at the jobs, they're broken down here. There's kind of small print there, but what this is mainly meant to show is there's a variety of jobs. And upon questioning, the company did say that a lot of these jobs do not require a college education to be proficient. And a lot of the jobs on here even have similar SOC codes, but it shows different categories, different wage categories within the same job. So it shows that when you enter the job, you can enter it at one level, become a manager before moving on. So we always do a cost-benefit analysis on these things before we just offer incentives, just to make sure that they don't cost the county money. And in this case, it's no different. SoFi Technologies, Inc. is expected to induce an additional 494 jobs by the end of the 5-year grant term. These are jobs above and beyond the jobs the company's bringing, but are here because the company moves here or it expands. And SoFi Technologies is expected to induce an additional cumulative net of $1,620,673 in sales tax revenue by the end of year 5. SoFi Technologies is expected to net the county $237,119 in revenue in the final year of the grant term, for a cumulative net of $687,994 over 5 years. But it's not all about it's not all about the money they bring. It's also about the talent they bring and the contributions that they give. This company, we did look into some of the background for this company. The company, a lot of these positions, as I said, do not require college education. They do offer a full slate of benefits, including insurance, mental health insurance, dental insurance, tuition reimbursement, a commitment to working with all of our workforce partners locally at the school district level, at community college level, at the university level. They have internal affinity groups for African Americans, LGBTQ, and women in the Charlotte office, and up to $315 a month in commuter spending accounts, which is a pre-tax account to help their employees pay for commuting to work. They also do hire justice-involved people for some positions in the unregulated part of the business. So in conclusion, what I'm requesting is the Board of County Commissioners to vote and adopt a resolution to approve a 5-year, 75% business investment program grant to SoFi Technologies, Inc. for a not-to-exceed amount of $39,354, and to authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute the contract. This concludes my presentation.
So thank you, Clay. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
No, sir.
All right, there's no speakers. Do we have questions for Clay? But, let me go to Chair of ED first, so thank you. I'm sorry.
Clay, can you just explain on the project employment page, number 7, where you've got some of the numbers are in red and some are in black? Can you just explain?
Well, these were just ones that I pointed out were a little different than some of the SOC code, which stands for Standard Occupational Code, which is a code the federal government gives to every job created. And these were just places that I noticed that there was a big variety in the job here versus the average. And to your point, a lot of times average doesn't tell you a whole lot. So this was where I said we went down a little deeper this time. And so you see, even for the same SOC code, you have a loan officer, and then you have a loan HE loan officer, which is a higher earning loan officer. In some cases, you have closers and funders, which are also considered some of the same SOC codes. And you could have somebody who's involved in closing and also a closing manager. So you can see that some of the prices skew high and some skew low. They come to an average that's pretty close to the SOC code average. But I just wanted to give you a little further detail to show you that some of those come in at a lower wage and move to a higher wage before they could, in the same category.
I guess the part that I'm not connecting with is where, like, if it says the wage is $78,000, but then under annual median MSA it's $138,460. Like, that's a huge difference.
That's right. There is a huge difference in some of these because a lot of these are highly commissioned jobs, so they have a very low kind of a draw or a base salary.
Oh, okay.
But they earn commission. So when the numbers are tallied up for the federal government, they're probably closer to the higher level, but it's not guaranteed by the company.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So, Mr. Chairman, the committee unanimously supported this. We really do like to see when there's upward mobility within the company, and so we all voted to approve.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Townsend Ingram.
I just wanted to say, I shouldn't say anything with my voice.
I'll listen carefully.
I just clip that showed where there is a pre-tax, like they're helping with commuter services for their employees. Those are the things that I really, really like seeing, that it's time, like the companies that we are bringing in and that we're helping.
Can't hear you down here.
You have to work with me today.
She doesn't feel good.
The companies that we are giving these tax incentives and breaks to and grants to actually tie back to our priorities, and that they're getting to the meat of what we're doing. So we're not just doing this, because they could potentially bring these jobs, but that this is a really good one. So appreciate Madam Chair of the Economic Development Committee, and this one's a really good one. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, colleagues, let's take it in two steps because everybody may not vote to approve, so I don't want to take it together. So, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt a resolution approving a business investment program grant to SoFi Technologies, Inc. for a not-to-exceed amount of $39,354 and authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any unreadiness? Hearing none. All those in favor, let's see by show of hands. All those opposed? That's one opposed, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate it. All right, next we'll turn to the manager's report. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight, I have one item under my manager's report. I have the distinct pleasure to recognize one of our board members for achieving 5 years.
All right, we are going to get back out to that breaking news now that that commissioner video is hit. We do have a reporter on the way to that scene, but we want to bring you back to this video from just a little bit earlier that we may have missed earlier on. Our photographer on the scene is gathering this video where you can see still dozens of cops, multiple cop cars outside of what appears to be kind of a strip mall of multiple businesses. I've seen a laundromat. I know there's a barber shop there, and we do know, as I've mentioned multiple times now, one person is confirmed dead. Medic confirmed that, and just right after that, CMPD confirmed that this is now a homicide investigation. This is along Trinity Road in northwest Charlotte. So you're seeing here, James has pulled up this map where you can see kind of exactly where it is, not far from that park, not far from Beatty's Ford. So this is right off of a busy area. The strip mall doesn't appear to be a particularly busy area. It's not far from some main roads. So police obviously still investigating, and we're hoping to get some more information once our reporter gets on scene, hopefully actually getting a chance to speak to an officer on the scene about that investigation. I know that our crew is also talking to people who witnessed this happening. So hoping to piece the pictures together pretty soon here. We're going to take a quick break, but know that we're going to keep hitting this breaking news as soon as we learn some more information. So stick with us. Welcome back to Live Impact News. We are going to continue to get back to that breaking news scene. This is out of Northwest Charlotte, and we do have a photographer already on scene. Our reporters on their way there now. It is now officially a homicide investigation. Medic has confirmed that one person has died. Now, we do not know at this point who this person is, if there are any suspects involved. We do not know if this was inside one of these businesses that you're seeing here or if it was in the parking lot. From what we can see, it's, there's a laundromat, a barbershop there, and so multiple businesses that could have been related to, but none of that is confirmed. Now we see exactly where in Mecklenburg County this took place. Like I mentioned, northwest part of Charlotte. This is off of Trinity Road and Beatty's Ford Road, so though it's not necessarily a busy area where this took place, you can see that it's not far from a major roadway. They're now, I think, continuing the investigation into, who did this, of course. They're talking to witnesses on the scene. Our photographers are speaking to witnesses as well. And we're hopeful that soon we'll get to speak to one of these officers on the scene. You can see dozens of officers, multiple police cars, and just a really large area that is still blocked off. I mean, our photographers are as close as they can get at this point, and it's still the entire roadway in the area is blocked off with caution tape, as well as that lawn in front of what appears to be a little strip mall of businesses. So we are going to have that in all of our shows today, and we're hoping to get an updated live hit from our Anna King soon when she gets to the scene and gets situated, speaks with officials and some witnesses. So just know that we're going to keep coming back to this homicide investigation now after one person has died in Northwest Charlotte. Switching gears now, though, we want to get to one of the other big stories of really the last couple months, Border Patrol's deployment to Charlotte and the Mecklenburg County area. Now, we had Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden on, I believe, yesterday, and got a chance to talk to him about, are they coming back? What is the status of that operation? And we now know that that is a potential, that though Operation Charlotte's Web has allegedly moved on, it could return. So our Miles Harris is looking into that today. Miles, what have you learned today? What do we know so far, and what else have you learned?
Yeah, so I talked to a couple of advocacy groups and also even a business, and the two words that come to mind are concern and fear. Those are the two ones that have kind of lingered in that. So business aspect, for example, they are still kind of recovering, picking up the pieces. We talked to Taco El Nevado. They're off of Central Avenue. They have another location off of South Boulevard. Talking to them about the impacts of the first round possibly of those operations. They said they took a hit of about 15% when those operations took place because they closed down for the week. And so if it's not the concern or the fear from their staff, it's the concern and fear from their customers. And so trying to navigate and operate around that is something that they wouldn't look forward to if those operations kind of came back into play into Charlotte. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of uncertainty on if that does take place. I did reach out to DHS and asked, hey, is there anything substance of this? Could they come back? If so, when? Things of that nature. Haven't heard back from DHS with that one as well. But again, even talking about the impacts from the first wave, talking to advocacy groups, same thing. Their concerns obviously hit homes, hit families, but also even hitting our schools. We know that CMS took a big hit when it comes to the absences of students when the first round of Border Patrol operations took place as well. So there's just a lot of concern about, if they come back, what that would look like in the Charlotte area again.
And I know that there has been some kind of miscommunication or confusion between local officials and federal, whether that's DHS or Border Patrol leaders themselves, because originally, a couple days after the operation, local leaders said, they've left, and then DHS doubled down. So I know that that's part of it here.
And that's the tricky part, too, because even when talking with the advocacy groups, they're trying to do as best as they can and being transparent with the operations. But again, when it comes to those federal operations and the agencies, they don't necessarily work with other places, right?
Sure.
So they can kind of move and operate on their own. And so it's not as easy as, okay, we have to set up in this aspect, right? They just kind of come and go and do as they please. I mean, I know that we were part of the first round of those operations and even the first day, and it was hard to keep track and keep up with those because they're so fast, they're moving in their own way. And so one of the things that these advocacy groups are trying to work on, as far as the Latino advocacy groups that we've talked to, they are trying to make sure that they're letting the public know, even the sheriff's office as well, is trying to make sure that they're being as consistent and as accurate as they possibly can when these operations do take place where they're happening at. But it is a tough thing to kind of weed through when there's so much that goes on, whether it's on social media, things of that nature as well. So
I know that local officials are, at this point ready for anything. Sheriff McFadden saying it's a possibility, so I'm sure they're going to be prepared. Any advice that the advocacy groups gave for people who are concerned?
Again, just trying to make sure that they're going to the more well-versed sources like us, right? They're trying to keep accurate with that, though, too. But they also just want to make sure that they also let the community know that they are proud of seeing the Charlotte community as a whole really come together and making sure that they're shedding light on this. They want to keep that going as well. But this is something that we're also trying to learn at the same time. Yeah. So they're in the same boat with that as well, but just trying to keep everybody as safely as they can as we try to move through what we are currently kind of dealing with when it comes to those questions.
Yeah, so a lot of questions I know still remain, and they will, I think, until we get some official answers from DHS. But we appreciate you following this for us 5 and 6 today.
Of course. Yep.
All
absolutely.
Right. Thanks for joining us, Miles. Going to get now back to, I believe, that breaking news, James. I think we've spoken to a witness on the scene.
This is a community advocate, Julie.
Okay, so let's get to this interview with our photographer, Kevin, who I think just got a chance to speak with this advocate within the last few minutes. So this is fresh sound from the scene that's still actively under investigation.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
I'll call you back.
Yep.
First, let me get you to say your name and spell it for me and tell
Okay.
me, and give me a title that you are.
Okay.
I'll hold it.
Okay. My name. Well, so I've been here since then.
And have you come to this shopping center here?
Oh, absolutely. All the time. In fact, this is where we hold a lot of community events. This is where we gather when there's something special going on in our community. This is a very popular spot for us.
And as far as incidents like this, can you, in your time here, being here, can you say that you've seen incidents like this here?
Well, they're very far and few in between. And we as a community have worked really hard to keep this type of activity from taking place in our community. Our neighborhood association meets once a month to prevent any type of criminal activity, as well as doing community events like prayer walks and parades to avoid this type of violence.
1 second.
Yeah, they want y'all to get across the street there, right at the intersection.
Oh, go outside. They're going to retape it. Can I have 30 seconds to finish it?
We got to get you to go now, if you don't mind. Yeah, just over there by the intersection right there.
Over by the church, maybe?
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, by the church, yeah, further down. Yeah, just they want you directly
In front of the crime scene.
Yeah.
Parents' father's church, right?
Yeah, it still is. He's still a pastor there.
Okay. His brother is there, right?
Correct.
Yeah, on the other side of the bus stop.
All right, so just a quick interview there from the last few minutes on scene with someone who is at the scene of this homicide. Again, this is an active investigation. We know that one person has died, confirmed by medic, and just a few minutes after that, CMPD then confirmed that this is in fact a homicide investigation. Again, this is what appears to be a strip mall off Trinity Road. We aren't sure if it's related to any of the businesses, if it happened outside. These are all things that we are still trying to figure out, but this is a good picture of where exactly in the city this is. As I mentioned, Trinity Road, so that's northwest Charlotte. It's not far off of Beatty's Ford Road, so though this is a pretty quiet area it appears to have happened at, it is pretty close to one of our main roads in the Charlotte area. Lots of questions still remain. As you saw, our photographer is on scene, and we have our reporter, Anna King, on her way there as well, hoping to get a live update from her when she gets set up. So know that we're going to keep coming back to this as we learn more, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to this breaking news on Live Impact. We're following a now homicide investigation out of Northwest Charlotte. We know one person has died at this scene here off of Trinity Road. You're taking a live picture now from our photographer and reporter on scene. This kind of showing the road that is still blocked off. We've shown you pictures that we've taken from the area showing a kind of a strip mall situation where this took place. We're not sure if it was outside or within the strip mall, one of the businesses. But you can see this is the road, Trinity Road, the one that is currently blocked off by not just caution tape, but actually police officers as well, not far from Beatty's Ford. So this is not necessarily a busy road that's blocked off, but it's very close to a high traffic area. And so we are continuing to hear as we speak from witnesses on the scene, from community advocates, for something like this to happen, in broad daylight on a weekday. Of course, any homicide is upsetting, but just jarring for it to happen at this time of day. So we're going to get back to more from this interview that our crew on scene got with a community advocate who was there.
You guys let me know. Anybody need a white balance or anything? We're good? Yep, we're good. Perfect. Will you start by just saying your first and last name for me?
Sure. Myra Stewart.
Will you spell it for us?
Sure. MYRASTEWART.
Okay. And Myra, were you here when this happened, or?
I was not here when it happened. I'm one of the community advocates, one of the community leaders. So usually when things take place in the community, I get a phone call.
And tell me about that phone call today.
Well, I got a phone call, and it was didn't have a lot of information at that moment. Just stating that there had been a shooting at the store, and I said I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm. And then I saw you reconciling people over here and speaking to people over here. What are you hearing from residents who were here at the time
About the
incident, the shooting?
Just that there was a fight that broke out, and then shooting started to take place.
And so you represent this area. Could you talk a little bit about just the crime in the area in general, or are you shocked at all? Or
no, absolutely. I was raised in this community. This type of violence is not normal for our community, and we as a community stick together to make sure we prevent this type of violence from happening. Our neighborhood association, we meet once a month. Police are always present to make sure we report what types of crime is taking place in the community, and then they make a report to us about the calls that were made to them. So the crime rate has been down in our community. We do community events, prayer walks, parades, to make sure that we let our community know that we want to prevent this type of violence in our community.
how important is it to have those meetings that police are involved in making this area safe and having that relationship?
Oh, it's very important, and they're very active, and they've really been doing a great job with supporting us in this community.
As a community advocate, to see a young woman out here in hysterics after something like this, not even knowing the connection, I don't know the connection she has to this, but what is it like for you to get that call and come out here and see this?
It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking to lose a loved one, and sudden death is the worst type of death, and it's just really heart-wrenching to see.
What will you and the community do to come together right now?
We always come together in times like this. We feed the family, we send flowers, we show up as a community at homes, even when it's not a violent act. When we lose people in this community, period, we show up as a community.
Is there anything else you'd like to? Go ahead. Yeah.
Talk about this shopping center being the center of the heartbeat of Trinity Park.
So yeah, this shopping center is the heartbeat of Trinity Park. It's where we gather, it's where we meet. I mean, for fun activities. This is not an area where every time you turn around there's some violence. Like I said, once a year, well, several times a year, we have cookouts, we have, again, prayer walks and parades, and when we have cookouts, we feed the whole community. I mean, we have, and I'd really like you to, if you can, really make it known that even once a year, we have a huge event where we give back. We give book bags to our students when they're going back to school, and we have a huge cookout, bouncy houses, and I mean DJ. I mean, we really focus on being a close-knit family here.
And so with this being a close-knit family, just how gut-wrenching is it when something like this happens?
It is gut-wrenching and it's hurtful. And most of the time it's not from within our community. It's the outsiders that come in and you know, make this type of violence happen.
Anything else you'd like to add in?
You know, again, you know, my heart goes out to the family. I'm very sorry that this happened, and we'll do everything that we can to prevent anything further from happening like this. So if it's more police activity that we need to see, or put a tower out here, whatever we have to do. I have a direct number to the police captain because they've made themselves available to us. So whatever we have to do to prevent this from happening, we'll do it. And we want to be here for the family as well.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name or the spelling. What was it?
Myra Stewart, MYRASTEWART.
All right, so that was an interview that we got on the scene of this homicide within the last 20 minutes with a community advocate. And you can hear a reporter there asking about just the heartbreaking situation here, the violence in the community, the need for police officers in this region, and just the emotions of the community right now. There are still witnesses there talking to officers. Even the interviewee and the reporter asking about a young woman in hysterics, they say, that's on the scene. So this is obviously still very fresh. This is happening right now. A really heartbreaking scene that we are going to keep trying to learn more about. But as I mentioned, one of the questions was about the need for police in this area. I mentioned this is Northwest Charlotte, near Beatties Ford Road on Trinity Road. And this is an area where we have seen multiple instances of violence over the last few years. So James, you've actually pulled up some data from this region. So what do we know about the history of homicides and violence in this area?
Yeah, you can see the map. You can see the map that was just on the screen there, Julie, and we're going through this data in real time with you, but we can look at open data that is available to us from the city of Charlotte that shows homicides over the last several years. So we're on Trinity Road right now, and we're going to click through these because you heard the community advocate there talking about their relationship with police. And so you can see every one of these dots along Trinity Road represents a homicide investigation in the last decade and change. And starting right at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Trinity Road, we can see that CMPD has a record of a homicide that occurred there in 2020. We have two more as we continue down Trinity Road. These are both near Evershire Drive. One of them was in the year of 2017. Another one in that same general area was in 2019. As we continue a little bit further down Trinity Road near, let's see, this is going to be like Feldbank Drive.
Okay.
We can see we have another dot here, this general area. And here again now a map of where we are today with a fresh homicide investigation underway.
And that really speaks to exactly what that community advocate was speaking about for the relationship with police in the area. And the need for police in this moment. You saw dozens on the scene right now, some of them likely a scene they've been to, a similar scene they've been to before in this area. Bringing you back to this video from earlier with those police, with the officials, with multiple vehicles, you can see that they're really congregated outside of what appears to be a barber shop. We're not sure yet, again, where exactly this homicide occurred. We know it was likely within this blocked off region, but we don't know if it was within one of the businesses, if we know it was outside in the parking lot. Really, at this point, all we know is that one person has sadly died, and they are investigating who did this and what happened here. I know that we are awaiting sound, an interview any minute now with an official, so we're really looking forward, of course, to hearing from police on this investigation, hoping to get some of those answers to those questions I just brought up of who did this, who is the victim, what was any sort of motive? Is anyone in custody? Was it inside the business, related to it? So many things we still have to learn. James, do we want to take a quick break, or do we want to hold and wait until?
And that is always the tricky part. I think we'll just stand by here a minute, Julie, as we await to hear from that public information officer or spokesperson for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department here. Looking at the live pictures, while we were listening to that interview from the community advocate, we did see a CMPD vehicle drive up, kind of a large van.
Yeah.
That is their crime scene investigation, their CSI. Came down this street just in the last about 10 minutes or so to join the other CMPD officers that are on scene. We're continuing to look at that road closure right here, again in Northwest Charlotte, and we should be hearing if it's either going to be a public information officer, sometimes it's like a captain, and we actually heard the woman who our reporter was speaking with say that she actually has the direct phone number to that captain who's in charge of this region, a part of that community relationship that we know CMPD tries to build with their community. So that might be the person that we hear from here in the next few minutes, as we are now looking at about 2:20 in the afternoon on this Wednesday.
Yeah, just as we've talked about too, heartbreaking for this to happen anytime, but particularly in broad daylight at a business where you'd imagine there are patrons of these businesses that were witnesses to whatever happened here. As I've said, a barbershop really seems to be where they're congregated around. You can also see like a market, a laundromat, so all...
Might be several different businesses in this little area here.
Yeah.
As we learn more exactly, GTR Market and Laundromat. I've seen a sign that also said that parking was reserved for Lindsay Enterprises. We don't know exactly where the homicide may have occurred, but we're just looking at businesses that have signage inside of the crime scene here.
It actually looks like, and I could be wrong, but either the captain or information officer is approaching reporters now, so hopefully that means that we're going to get some of that information very soon here. But even in this live picture, we've seen people get turned away. That kind of speaks to this being a road that people use quite often. So people just going about their daily errands, whether they're coming home from work or from school, getting turned away here. So hopefully this officer is on his way to give us some more information.
Yeah, I'm listening right now to the audio from our camera in our ear, and they're doing microphone checks, and we're being told in just a moment we'll be getting that update we've been waiting for from this latest homicide scene here in Northwest Charlotte. And I think as soon as this gentleman gets here, we'll be able to hear. We can see a sign in the background,
Yeah.
Julie. Welcome to Beatties Ford Park and Trinity Park community. That is the scene of this ongoing investigation.
As we zoom out too, like we're able to see the park there, how close it is, and also just how large this blocked off area is too. Like we're right outside, we're as close as we can get, but it's a significant area that is blocked off still for this investigation.
Yeah, as our crew gets their camera focused here, we're going to listen in to this update from CMPD.
First and last name and title, please.
Michael Anderson, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N, Patrol Major, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. At around 1:05 p.m. today, we received multiple calls for service at the 9100 block of Trinity Road. In those description, the call for service stated that one male victim had been shot. Officers arrived on scene and did locate one male victim suffering from a apparent gunshot wound. CFD and medic arrived on scene and did try to provide life-saving measures, but due to the extent of the injuries of the victim, they were pronounced deceased on scene. One of the things that we're asking for, calling for from the public, if anybody with any information, to please utilize Charlotte Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600 or utilize Charlotte P3 Tips mobile app. I will take some questions at this time.
We're hearing this stem from an argument. Is there any information you can give us on that?
I don't want to speculate at this time on that. We're still in the preliminary investigation. As you see, our men and women are working diligently and hard back here to make sure that we give justice to the victim and the family.
And so the shooting happened inside or outside?
At this time, everything that we're seeing on scene, that it did happen outside.
Of the barbershop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
While you're asking for public help, that means you don't have the suspect in custody?
At this time, we do have some information that we just can't put that out right now, just for the integrity of the case.
Is there any information asking for the public's help? Do you guys have, is there a car description? Is it one person? Is it multiple? Is there anything that people can look out for?
At this time, like once we get this additional information, we'll make sure that information is put out through our PIO office. We really want to hold the integrity of that, make sure we have the right information. We don't want to put out information that is wrong and then have to rescind that back.
Any other injuries on scene? Was it just one person shot?
Oh, it's just injuries to one person.
Community shouldn't be alerted or anything at this time. It seems to be one-on-one case.
Yeah, at this time, it's no concern to the public. This does appear to be an isolated incident. If we do get any information, any concerns to the public, we'll make sure that we'll get that communicated out.
One more question. Do you believe at this time that they were known, the suspects and the victim, to each other?
Yeah, we're still working through that. That's still preliminary right now, but the way that things are looking, that is the kind of way that it's going right now.
You want to do one more just community real quick?
Sure, one more community call to action.
Yeah, call to action. We have community advocates out here that say they work really closely with CMPD and appreciate the tight-knit community and everything that you guys have been doing with them. Anything you want to say to the community out here?
I will say thank you for the community's support and help. We couldn't do our job without them. Want to keep on. If you see something, say something. It takes their eyes and their ears in order for us to go out here and do our jobs. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Do you have any additional questions for me then?
All right, so you were just hearing live as it happened, an officer from CMPD describing the situation here, suspect still trying to figure that out right now. They have some information, they said, but they're not able to release it at this time. What we do know is that, again, one person has died from a gunshot wound. This happened outside of the barber shop, so not within any of those businesses that we've been referring to within the strip mall. So lots of questions still to be answered. Our Anna King is going to stay on scene to hopefully clear that up and hopefully get some more information soon. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. About 2:30 on the clock, and we want to switch gears a little bit here. So we're heading to, oh, James, what was that?
I was just going to show some pictures before we went.
Oh, we're actually just kidding. We're not switching gears yet. We're going to head back to this breaking news real quick to show some live images from the scene. This is again where we just got that update from a public information officer, CMPD officer, on what we know happened here. So just to recap, so everyone knows, one person has died. CMPD confirms this is a homicide investigation. They say they do have information about a suspect potentially, but they're not quite able to share with us yet. This is still happening as we speak, so that investigation's still underway. We knew that it happened outside of that barber shop we mentioned, but at this point we don't know any relation between victim and suspect. We don't know the names of the situation, and that area is still blocked off. So avoid the Trinity Road area, Beatty's Ford Road, that intersection. That is the area that is currently blocked off. You can see it here in northwest Mecklenburg County. So that is the area to avoid right now. It's not just the businesses that are blocked off, but also the road. So keep an eye on that if that is a part of your commute. Now we're going to switch gears to a story that I know everyone is pretty curious about, especially if you've got kids, or you're someone who's prone to getting the seasonal flu. This year, we have a lot of people sneezed around the office. Nick Carboni, for one, can stay away from me. But we do want to check in with our Megan Bragg. So our Verify Queen is here.
Yes.
To talk about if flu symptoms are actually worse this year.
Right, and this actually comes off the heels of that news that we just got a few hours ago, I'm pretty sure, about that one child who died from the flu in North Carolina. This is the first pediatric death that we have seen so far in our state. But you know, we are seeing a lot of cases. So far in North Carolina, there's almost 4,000 cases of the flu, and in South Carolina, 1,600. So the flu is going around.
That's some stark numbers there.
Yes, and CDC says that they estimate 2.9 million Americans have had the flu so far this year. I know a bunch of my family members got the flu last week, and symptoms, they keep, I mean, everybody who I talk to who has had the flu, they're talking about how bad their symptoms are and how much worse it is. And we actually sat down and talked with Dr. Carla Robinson, who is a family physician. And she actually said, you know, symptoms aren't as worse or better than last year. It's going to be pretty much the same. You just are going to feel like you are basically dying because it's just how the flu is, right?
Every flu I've ever had, it feels like the worst one I've ever had.
Exactly. So, so we are going, so not necessarily the worst flu symptoms that we've seen, but there is a new variant that people need to look out for. 30 states have reported that new variant. Only, I think, 4 cases in North Carolina have had that variant. So anyways, vaccination, if you do want to get vaccinated, just remember that takes about 2 weeks to get into effect. And so that is that. Yeah.
All right. Definitely some helpful information. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, yes. Try to stay away from people if you're sick, feeling sick. Also, there's other medications too if you have the flu that you can take to help relieve some symptoms.
Especially ahead of this holiday travel.
Absolutely, and you're going to be around family and everything like that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, our Verify Queen, Megan Bragg.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we're going to take a quick break real quick. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with some more local and national headlines. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. Another live look at this scene in Northwest Charlotte. One person has died, and we are waiting to hopefully get some more information. Police now say that they know this shooting happened outside of the barber shop, so it was not within any of the businesses in the strip mall. We know there are multiple, but you can see this entire area still blocked off, and as well as the road. This is off Trinity Road and not too far from Beatty's Ford. So if that is a part of your commute, definitely avoid this area for a while as they are still narrowing down information about a suspect. Police have told us that they do have some information, but they're not quite able to share it at this point. So we're going to get back out here when we get some more video. We'll get back out there to you, and our Anna King is going to be live there in our newscast later on. Some other live events happening throughout our country right now. Currently, President Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth are awaiting the return of 2 National Guards members killed in Syria for a ceremony to honor their lives and their service. So this is a live look as it happens right now. You can see dozens of service members there paying their respects as they await that return. Also happening right now, we have multiple Congress people speaking, including on healthcare. So maybe we take a listen in here, as this is a really big deal, as multiple Republicans said that they would vote with the Democrats to continue ACA subsidies.
Senator White House said are going to skyrocket even more next year. So for those small businesses, they are confronted with tariffs that are punishing them intensely. Business is down for small businesses in our country during this Christmas season. The tariffs on their goods for food, for clothing, for toys, even for Christmas trees, skyrocketing and affecting their profitability. So Trump refuses to do anything about those tariffs. If you're a big business, you can go in and give them a gift, and maybe they'll take care of your company. But small businesses can't do that. They don't have an extra $1 million, to be able to donate to the new Trump ballroom, to be able to pay for a party down in Mar-a-Lago. So they are suffering, and they're right on the front lines of this healthcare, electricity, and tariff regime that is punishing those Main Street firms all across our country. It's Robin Hood in reverse. They are taking from the small companies in order to give tax breaks to the CEOs of the biggest companies in our country. And ultimately, it's not a wonderful life on Main Street this year for small businesses. They are absolutely suffering, and it's been my great honor to partner on this issue with the great senator from the state of Georgia, Raphael Warnock.
Thank you so much. My colleague, Senator Markey, describes it right. What we're witnessing is Robin Hood in reverse. They are literally taking money from the bottom and giving it to the folks at the top. Socialism for the rich. Donald Trump promised the families across our country and the families of Georgia, where he won and where I won, that he was going to lower their costs. And he's done the exact opposite. Everywhere I go across the state, from cities to rural communities, from my hometown of Savannah to Atlanta, to small towns in between, the story is the same. In blue districts in Georgia and red districts in Georgia, their dollar is not going far enough. And it's getting worse. And this is a result of tariffs. But I think every time we say tariffs, we ought to be really clear about what a tariff is. It's a tax. Mm-hmm. And so let's be clear. They have given a historic tax cut to the wealthiest of the wealthy, and they are taxing all the rest of us. And families are feeling the pinch. He promised them that he'd drive their costs down. Instead, he's taken an extra $1,200 out of the pockets of Georgia families this year alone. And next year is estimated to be $1,700. That's real money for ordinary people who cannot contribute to a White House ballroom. These reckless tariff taxes are especially difficult on young families. Some of the young people in my church who are married or who are planning on getting married who are having children. They are seeing that the cost of everything from cribs to strollers to baby monitors, all of it has spiked. Donald Trump has made it difficult to start and grow a family in America. Almost half of all families say that they're buying less gifts this holiday season because of the increase in prices. I was at a small business a few weeks ago, and it's a chocolate manufacturer, our own living Willy Wonka. It was fun to be there. But I have to tell you, those folks, our small business, are really struggling because not only is the price of sugar going up for them, not only has the price of cocoa beans gone up for them, the very paper that they wrap the chocolate in has gone up. And as a result of that, they have had to raise prices on their customers, and they've had difficulty making long-term investments. They would like to have a tariff waiver. But this small business, these owners don't know anybody in the administration to call. They don't have anybody that they can bribe in order to get a tariff waiver. And so Donald Trump said that he'd give himself an A+. And then he thought about it. He said, on second thought, it's actually A++++. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is, who was he talking about? If this economy is the best that Donald Trump can provide, the question is good for whom? Certainly not the people that I talked to in rural Georgia. And so it's clear that he could do something about this. Let me be really clear. The Congress could fix this. Yeah. Tariffs are in the wheelhouse of Congress. And if our Republican friends were actually working for the people who elected them, we could fix this tomorrow. But Donald Trump is working for his billionaire friends, and Washington Republicans are working for him. Democrats are working for you.
All right, excellent. And next up, the number one issue that Americans are focused on when it comes to cost is groceries and...
All right, so you've been listening in to Congress people out of Washington discussing the healthcare updates, as now multiple Republicans saying that they are going to vote with the Democrats to extend ACA subsidies. We want to get back out to the scene, though. In your top left corner, Guard members killed in Syria returning to U.S. President Donald Trump there paying his respects, as well as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. They are, right now, as I mentioned, paying their respects. We understand that it's quiet right now. Some of the officers here standing at attention. But that silence, of course, is intentional as they pay their respects to the fallen soldiers. right, so you can see there the soldiers carrying the caskets of the 2 Guard members killed in Syria that are just now returning to the U.S. That's President Donald Trump saluting and paying his respects next to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, as well as multiple other high-ranking officials here in the U.S. military. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be back in 2 minutes. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. We want to take a moment to remind you of our schedule for the rest of the night and throughout the week until Christmas Day. We are going to be featuring Christmas events and parades from around our region at 9:30 p.m. So tonight, if you missed Belmont Christmas Parade, you can watch the Concord Christmas Parade at 9:30. That'll be right after Nick Carboni breaks down the Panthers and everything you need to know ahead of their big game, hopefully to get to the playoffs against the Buccaneers on Sunday. So lots going on later tonight. Of course, we'll be back at Live Impact News from 7 to 9 throughout the day as well. So lots to get to. I think we're going to get now to that same conference of Congress people speaking on health care. Chuck Schumer now leading this conference.
60 votes in the Senate. Here's what conversations we've had with Senate Republicans and plans you have to try to change that in the new year.
Yeah, it's up to Senator Thune. I hope it passes the House. They did get, I think, five Republicans as of now to sign it. I hope that Johnson won't play little games that he sometimes can do with the discharge petition. But if they send it to us, we already had every Democrat vote for the 3-year clean extension. We hope Thune would put it on the floor and let it pass. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so that was just the tail end of that news conference. We're going to head now to a look at your forecast because I know we are expecting some rain this week. So here's Becca Birdsall.
Good Wednesday afternoon. We have come a long way since the bitterly cold temperatures that we saw on Monday. Today, that warming trend continues. We'll just do it with extra cloud cover out there, especially across the greater Charlotte area. It's still going to be a mild day, especially compared to a December average. We'll be a few degrees above that for this afternoon. It is going to remain rain-free, our last rain-free day before we start to see wet weather move in for Thursday. This is going to be alongside a cold front that will bring us some gusty winds on Friday, and then we're also looking ahead to the warmest day as we go into your Sunday and this weekend. High temperatures, again, about 2 degrees above what they were for yesterday afternoon. It's not a huge warm up because of the clouds. Upper 50s is what we'll do across the greater Charlotte area, and lower 50s for those higher elevations. Christmastown, USA will carry the clouds, but you don't have to worry about that rain gear. It will be dropping into the upper 40s right around 8 o'clock. And then here comes the wet weather. Starting Thursday in the morning hours, we'll see a few showers roll in, really ramping up for the afternoon and evening. Accumulations will be nearing about an inch of rainfall across the Piedmont. But like I mentioned, behind that cold front that is going to bring us the round of rain is some gusty winds expected for Friday, but the highest wind gust will be up in the mountains. So this is a look at futurecast. Again, Thursday looks wet. We've got widespread rain in the forecast. Here's why. High pressure system moves off, and then here comes that low pressure system, travels across the Great Lakes, and a big associated cold front with it. And that's what's going to drive in all those rain showers our direction. Thursday morning, 7 o'clock, if you're headed out to work or school, just a few light showers out there. So for the most part, roads will be dry. It's towards the late morning we start to see this pick up, passing showers expected, but this increases in coverage and a little bit of intensity for the afternoon and evening. That's a look at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is going to be a much more messy commute than the morning hours. Pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall embedded with the system, but a lot of us will just see some light showers. We'll continue this into early Friday. Once that cold front pushes off, it's going to dry us off, but that northwest wind will produce some snow accumulations up towards the high country. Very light to a dusting is expected. Again, we'll have a chance to pick up around an inch across the greater Charlotte area, but higher up in elevation, especially along and north of I-40, lower accumulations expected, especially around a quarter. So far this month, Charlotte has picked up over an inch of rainfall. The average for the month is about 3.5. So we are getting close to the halfway point of December, and really this is our big rainmaker as we go into the next 7 days. So we will take any drop that we can get. Once the rain moves off, big story is going to be these winds. It's going to be quite breezy here in the Charlotte area starting early Friday morning, 25 to 35 miles per hour. But up in the mountains, especially going later in on Friday afternoon, 40 to 50 miles per hour can be expected. And while everyone else will have calm winds Friday night, the mountains will be still breezy. This weekend, once everything clears out, looks absolutely fantastic. The weekend before Christmas, it's going to be a chilly start for both mornings in the lower to middle 30s. Highs a little bit cooler for Saturday, upper 50s, but back into the lower 60s for our Sunday. And of course, we are looking ahead towards our Christmas forecast. So here's a preview. Tuesday going to be a chilly start, 30s and 40s, but highs in the middle 50s. By Christmas Eve, 67 degrees. It's over 10 degrees above the normal high for this time of year. And warmer weather will continue for Christmas Day as well, looking at a high temperature of 65 degrees in this Jerry Head Supercenter 7-day forecast. So unfortunately, no white Christmas, but you can't complain about 65 degrees and mostly sunny for Christmas. As we go over the next couple of days, we'll see those temperatures stay in the upper 50s, a warm up coming for Sunday.
All right, take another quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stick with us. Welcome back to Live Impact News. It is 3 o'clock on the dot. Julie Kay back here in the studio. We want to get back to a story that we brought you earlier today. Governor Josh Stein, governor of North Carolina, speaking about the DMV. Of course, that's a hot topic for everyone in North Carolina. We're all used to long lines, long wait times. But today, he was actually congratulating 150 new potential employees that are supposed to help with all those backlogs that we are now pretty accustomed to seeing. So our Bria Smith has been covering this for us. So Bria, exciting news for people that are tired of those wait times.
Yes.
So how do they expect this to help?
Yeah, so pretty much it'll help as soon as you walk into your appointment. These are the people that will see your documentation. They'll help you get your real ID, get your road test. So they're the ones seeing your documentation, kind of just reducing, again, like that wait time that we mentioned. We went to a DMV earlier today, and I think I saw it for the first time, actual chairs lined up. And so, we did speak to people, and they were, hopeful that this will, kind of reduce that wait time. But overall, that's the goal here. It's something that was, kind of set out back in August, so a couple months. So they've already been working. It's already integrated throughout, DMVs in North Carolina. So they're hopeful that this will kind of tackle that time that people are in the DMV.
At the DMV that you were at, what else did people say? Any horror stories that they have? Because I know that's pretty common.
Yeah. So I did speak to one man who said that he was waiting for his number to be called. No horror stories. Like I said, there were a lot of chairs lined up, but not as many people in them. I think they were just kind of waiting for them, if you will. But some people were there for specific things, so they were kind of in and out. But yeah, I've heard those stories as well, and so I hope that this will alleviate some of that time that they're there.
And I know that this is just one part of alleviating some of those wait times. Anything else that the state is doing to hopefully improve this process?
Yeah, I think they're working on a couple of different things because the communication director for NCDOT, Marty, he did mention that this isn't going to be the only bullet that kind of tackles the issues that they're seeing, or rather the challenges that they're seeing. So they are working on other things, and actually next fiscal year, so come July, they'll be looking for 33 new examiners to add to that list, just to have a bigger bandwidth, if you will.
Especially as people keep moving to the state. Also
growing.
Charlotte.
Yes.
More people need new IDs, and then we've got the backlog of people who need to renew and all that. So it's just kind of a endless cycle for sure.
Exactly. So hopefully this will reduce some of that stress for people.
And you're going to be at 5 and 6?
5 and 6.
All right. I know people will be very curious. DMV stories are always talkers.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, Bria.
Awesome. Thank you.
We are now, speaking of transportation, actually going to head to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. He was just speaking a little while ago. So here's what he had to say, especially ahead of some holiday travel I know people are concerned about.
Before we came up, Dan said, "You're number what?" I said 20. He said, "So well done. Thank you." Hey, it's great to be with everybody. Wonderful crowd. Exciting day, and not just exciting because Administrator Bedford is in his second day of testifying on Capitol Hill, but he is, which I know you've all probably watched. It's very exciting. But it's a big day for us. It's a big announcement. But I think we should take a step down memory lane for a moment to recognize what today is. Today is the 122nd anniversary of the Wright brothers' first flight at Kitty Hawk. These were bike mechanics. We all know the story, Dayton, Ohio. And they were trying to answer the question, can man fly? And we didn't know if man could fly. It was a question. And they answered that question 122 years ago today. And it was their innovation, their creativity, how bold they were. They didn't give up. And from what they did 122 years ago has fundamentally changed the world forever. How we move, how products move, radically transformed the way the world works. And as we look at America, Dayton, Ohio, Wright brothers, it's been America who has continued to lead in aviation. Whether it's the first solo transatlantic flight, the first around-the-world flight, or it's breaking the sound barrier, winning the space race, or the fact that we launched the jet age. It's in America where we innovate in aviation. But now we come to 2025, and I think we all recognize aviation is changing, and changing very quickly. And the question becomes, are we going to continue to lead in aviation? And we're going to look at eVTOLs and drones and supersonic flight. All are radically changing at this moment in time. And the country and the companies that are the greatest innovators are the ones that are going to win. So that's why we're here today. Today we're unveiling the first ever national strategy for advanced air mobility. So this technology, whether it's an electric aircraft or electric vertical takeoff or landing aircraft, it has untold applications. And everyone comes to my office and tells me all the great applications that their vehicle is going to have and how it's going to change the world and how everyone's excited about it, and they are. So it's going to enhance emergency response and improve access for healthcare. It's going to give us different regional mobility. Where we live, where we work can fundamentally change with an eVTOL. Faster cargo operations and last mile delivery will radically change with this technology. And it's going to be easier for aviation training. But America's not the only one that's innovating. Some of our adversaries are chomping at our heels, or we're chomping at their heels. The race is on, and that adversary, for the most part, is China. And if you look at what happened with drones, we ceded drone territory to the Chinese, and now we're playing catch up. We are not going to cede this territory to the Chinese. We are going to lead, and we are going to win because we are going to out-innovate. And so our purpose, create a roadmap to enable this exciting technology. So that's what we're going to do today. Talk about the strategy, which is the 40 recommendations that we are making to support the innovation in this space. And broad concepts, modernizing our airspace so they can handle the increased traffic, building an all-new infrastructure like vertiports, bolstering safety, properly accounting for security concerns so our enemies can't take advantage of this technology and then use it against us, and developing a workforce of the future to support this new industry. So here's the bottom line. America, again, for the fourth time, is going to lead. We led in the past. We are going to lead for the next 100 years. And President Trump has been very clear. He wants to take away, not all of them, but a lot of the rules and regulations that will inhibit the innovators. He wants to set them free. He wants to actually win in America again. And so thanks to his leadership, we are building a brand new air traffic control system, which, by the way, the big beautiful bill gave us $12.5 billion. It's a great first start. We need $20 billion more. So as you go talk to the Hill and mention whatever you're going to talk to the Hill about, if you want to say, by the way, give Duffy $20 extra billion, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. We're hiring a historic number of air traffic controllers. We've launched a new pilot program to test the real-world applications of AAM aircraft in the field, and we put forward a new rule to expand how drones can be used in the airspace. And finally, we're supporting a return of supersonic flight. All incredibly exciting advancements. And this, I got to tell you, I couldn't be prouder of our DOT team and our FAA team. They have done remarkable work. And I think that government oftentimes moves too slow. And oftentimes government can be afraid of taking risks. And you always have to manage your risk. But if we just sit in our silos and don't take risk, America loses. We have to let innovation take place. And with innovation, we take risk with that. And we in government can't be afraid of taking that risk. And it has to be managed. It has to be calculated. But we have to allow this technology to develop here. And that's what we're committed to doing. And again, the FAA team, the DOT team have worked tirelessly to make sure that America is the home of this innovation. We're going to build these aircraft here, and we are going to export them around the world with American jobs. What we don't want is those products to be built somewhere else and imported to this country. A lot of problems with that, but one of the main problems is it's a national security risk for this country. I also want to thank the White House OSTP Director, Michael Kratzowitz, who has done a fantastic job supporting this, as well as Brendan Carr from the FCC. He has been a remarkable partner. There he is. He's going to talk to you guys in a little bit. But also, Congressman Mann has been a fierce leader in Congress, making sure that we were able to get to this point today. And what I want to leave you with is we are looking for the best ideas, how we can improve the rules that we put out, the structure that we give you, all critically important. And what you see under President Trump's leadership, which I think is remarkable, you have a government that's all trying to work together. We're trying to collaborate and coordinate together so you don't have to go to 25 different agencies. We can make one set of rules, and so you can do what you do best, which is create, grow, innovate. And I couldn't be, again, prouder of the team. I couldn't be prouder of President Trump's leadership, unleashing all of us to do bold things. I'm excited for what the future holds. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to today. Thank you all for being here. God bless, and let's win the future.
That was Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy speaking there. We're going to take another quick break and hit some more of our breaking stories in about 2 minutes. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News, almost 3:15 on your clock. So we got about 45 minutes left here in the Live Impact studio. So we're going to get back to our breaking news of the day, which is this homicide investigation in Northwest Charlotte. This is the scene from earlier today. One person has died. The latest that we know from police is that, yes, it's a homicide investigation. They do have some information about what might be a suspect, but they are not able to release that information at this point. We know that this, as you can see, the scene here is somewhat of a strip mall. We know that this happened outside of the barber shop, which you can kind of see in the right corner there. But this is what it looked like earlier today with dozens of police officers and this really wide area blocked off. So this is a road you're going to want to avoid. It's really close to Beatty's Ford Road, and it's an area that I believe is still blocked off as this investigation continues. Switching gears now, though, to a look at your forecast. We know there's some rain on the way, so we want to make sure we get to that with our Becca Birdsall.
And then here comes the wet weather. Starting Thursday, in the morning hours, we'll see a few showers roll in, really ramping up for the afternoon and evening. Accumulations will be nearing about an inch of rainfall across the Piedmont. But like I mentioned, behind that cold front that is going to bring us the round of rain is some gusty winds expected for Friday. But the highest wind gust will be up in the mountains. So this is a look at Futurecast. Again, Thursday looks wet. We've got widespread rain in the forecast. Here's why. High pressure system moves off, and then here comes that low pressure system, travels across the Great Lakes, and a big associated cold front with it. And that's what's going to drive in all those rain showers our direction. Thursday morning, 7 o'clock, if you're headed out to work or school, just a few light showers out there. So for the most part, roads will be dry. It's towards the late morning we start to see this pick up, passing showers expected, but this increases in coverage, a little bit of intensity for the afternoon and evening. That's a look at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is going to be a much more messy commute than the morning hours. Pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall embedded with the system, but a lot of us will just see some light showers. We'll continue this into early Friday. Once that cold front pushes off, it's going to dry us off, but that northwest wind will produce some snow accumulations up towards the high country. Very light to a dusting is expected. Again, we'll have a chance to pick up around an inch across the greater Charlotte area, but higher up in elevation, especially along and north of I-40, lower accumulations expected, especially around a quarter. So far this month, Charlotte has picked up over an inch of rainfall. The average for the month is about 3.5. So we are getting close to the halfway point of December, and really this is our big rainmaker as we go into the next 7 days. So we will take any drop that we can get. Once the rain moves off, big story is going to be these winds. It's going to be quite breezy here in the Charlotte area starting early Friday morning, 25 to 35 miles per hour. But up in the mountains, especially going later in on Friday afternoon, 40 to 50 miles per hour can be expected. And while everyone else will have calm winds Friday night, the mountains will be still breezy. This weekend, once everything clears out, looks absolutely fantastic. The weekend before Christmas, it's going to be a chilly start for both mornings in the lower to middle 30s. Highs a little bit cooler for Saturday, upper 50s, but back into the lower 60s for our Sunday. And of course, we are looking ahead towards our Christmas forecast. So here's a preview. Tuesday going to be a chilly start, 30s and 40s, but highs in the middle 50s. By Christmas Eve, 67 degrees. It's over 10 degrees above the normal high for this time of year. And warmer weather will continue for Christmas Day as well, looking at a high temperature of 65 degrees in this Jerry Head Super Center 7-day forecast. So unfortunately, no white Christmas, but you can't complain about 65 degrees and mostly sunny for Christmas. As we go over the next couple of days, we'll see those temperatures stay in the upper 50s, a warm up coming for Sunday.
All right, Becca Birdsall with the forecast. And of course, as she mentioned, holidays coming up, holiday travel also coming up. You're taking a live look at the Charlotte International Airport. Surveys do indicate, though, that Americans don't feel great about the overall economy right now. That's not going to stop them from hitting the road for the holidays. Multiple forecasts see a record number of holiday travelers this year. So Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at which of those costs are up and which are down. Karen.
Hi there, Julie. More travelers, more airplane seats, higher airfares, and lower gas prices. It all adds up to the last big travel boom of 2025.
Americans aren't letting economic uneasiness stop them from hitting the roads, the rails, and the airports for the holidays.
The uncertain economy is certainly not stopping them from holiday travel. This is yet another record season.
AAA forecasts 122.4 million U.S. travelers will take a trip at least 50 miles from home during the end-of-year holiday travel period. That's up 2.2% from 2024. About 90% of holiday travelers, AAA says, will go by car, with the national average for a gallon of gas sitting below $3 thanks to crude oil prices down 20% from this time last year. In the skies, industry trade group Airlines for America anticipates domestic airlines will carry 52.6 million passengers between December 19th and January 5th, up 1.5% over 2024. Expedia's Melanie Fish says passengers who want to travel with minimal crowds should avoid the highest volume days.
The busiest day for air travel is shaping up to be that Saturday right before Christmas. And then the second busiest day is shaping up to be the 26th, the day right after Christmas.
Airlines for America predicts U.S. Airlines will add 72,000 seats each day of the holiday stretch. Sarah Kopit, editor-in-chief for travel news site Skift, says airlines have prepared for the rush as best they can, even as as the nation grapples with an ongoing air traffic controller shortage.
The airports and the airlines, they are confident that this season they'll be able to handle anyone who wants to come out and fly.
And for those who delayed booking their holiday flights, Expedia's Melanie Fish told me that you can probably still snag a seat, but expect to pay for it. She also said some of those last-minute routes may require multiple legs or layovers, so make sure that saving the money will be worth that extra time. Julie?
Now, Karen, I know some passengers haven't traveled since the last holiday rush, so do experts have any advice for them navigating the airports this year?
Well, the most notable thing, Julie, will be the Real ID requirement that went into effect at the nation's airports earlier this year. It is an enhanced form of your driver's license or other identification that you are required to have to go through those security checkpoints. Go to TSA.gov if you don't have a Real ID and see what the list of other acceptable alternatives is. If you don't have any of those, TSA has a program this year where you can spend $45, and for a 10-day travel window, you are eligible to fly. So make sure you have the information there. TSA also reminding passengers about what cannot go in a carry-on this holiday season. That includes wrapped presents. They say their agents will unwrap those gifts at the security checkpoints. Also, snow globes, very popular holiday gift. You can't take those through the checkpoint. And they also said in a press conference today, a lot of people like to bring things for their holiday meals, right? Their pots and pans to cook with, wine knives and corkscrews. Those cannot be in those carry-on bags as well. Put them in your checked baggage. And also, when I spoke with Expedia's Melanie Fish, she said, try to do as much as you can before you get to the airport. That includes reserving a parking spot, checking in for your flight, and also navigating the airport a little bit so you know how to get to the gate.
All right, all very helpful information for those holiday travelers. Karen, thank you so much for joining us. All right, we're going to take a quick break, I believe, James. I think we're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back just shortly with some more local and national headlines. Welcome back to Live Impact News. One of the stories that is a really, really big story in our area that we haven't touched on yet is, of course, the charges against former now Sycamore co-owner Justin Brigham. So our reporter Siobhan, was out there last night at Sycamore. We've seen a lot of reaction, of course, from customers of Sycamore, from other businesses. But of course, given the nature of these charges and how it relates to child safety online, she spoke with experts about what now? How do you protect your kids online from crimes like this?
Business has been slow here at Sycamore Brewing ever since the news broke about now former co-owner Justin Brigham, who's accused of raping a child. Psychologists say these incidents can have psychological impacts on children.
Watch your surroundings. Don't talk to strangers.
Diana McCalla, a grandmother of two, fears for the well-being of the 13-year-old authorities say Brigham raped last week.
I could just imagine the fear, it's like they'd be scared to go to talk to people.
In this situation, everybody needs therapy. And possibly it may have to occur for a while.
Clinical counselor and health psychologist Nanette Funderburk says the impacts of sexual abuse can be different for every person.
Age absolutely makes a difference because there is incomplete brain development there. The perception of things and the way things play out can be extremely impactful to a child.
Funderburk says sexual abuse can also cause children to struggle in school or relationships. She says it's important for parents to know what steps to take to prevent their children from becoming victims.
You can let your children know if you feel uncomfortable in a situation, let me know or let a responsible adult know immediately. And you may even want to come up with a code word.
Funderburk says it's also important for children to know that their parents are going to believe them if they tell an adult they were sexually abused.
And I was a bus driver, years ago, and it did happen to one of the girls, and she just wouldn't open up at all.
And Funderburk says other psychological impacts include PTSD, trust issues, and changes in behavior. In South End, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
Definitely some helpful information from our Siobhan Riley and from those experts in the wake of the charges against the former Sycamore co-owner. We want to get out to our biggest breaking news of the day, which is the homicide investigation in Northwest Charlotte. That's where we're going to find our Anna King in a moment here. She's been there all day as we've been learning more about what happened here. We know one person is dead, but Anna, that's really the majority of what we know so far.
That's right. Right now, the details are very limited, but you can still see the scene behind me. There are people seeing the cruisers here, and investigators just right about it's an hour. Told me this shooting stemmed from an argument that started at a barbershop. Officials could not confirm that information right now, though, as they are still working this investigation. Now, one man I spoke with told me he was actually sleeping inside when he was jolted out of his sleep to the sound of gunfire. So while police have not given us much information, they do say there is no threat to the public right now.
Yeah, I know a lot of questions still to be answered. We're having a little bit of trouble with your audio, so we're going to let you go and get ready for your live shots at 4 and 5. But thank you so much for the information, and we will check back in, as I mentioned, in about 30 minutes. Anna, thank you.
Julie, I'm going to go ahead and pop up the map for anybody who's just maybe joining us.
Yeah, let's recap some of the things that Anna was talking about. So as she mentioned, some of the conversations she's having with witnesses, with people on the scene there who either were woken up by this gunfire or who know people in the area, were in the area. Just a lot of questions still remain. But this is where this happened. Trinity Road, that red dot, is where this occurred, outside of a barber shop, we now know. It's near Beatty's Ford Road, so it's not quite too far from a very busy, populated area. This is video from the scene earlier, just about 2 hours ago probably, when our first crew got onto the scene. So this happened middle of the day. Anna mentioned some of the people that she spoke to suggested it could have been an argument that led up to this, but police at this time are not ready to confirm anything. They say they do have some information that may help in the search for a suspect or a motive for this, but they're not at liberty to release that information at this time to protect their investigation. So we are going to keep following this throughout the day, of course, and as I mentioned, Anna is on scene and she will be back at 4 and 5 for our newscast with the most updated information and some more sound from those interviews with witnesses on the scene. So, James, we want to take another quick break. We're going to head to break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Sticking with that breaking news, that homicide investigation outside of Northwest Charlotte. We're going to get back to an interview we first brought you earlier with a community advocate who was on the scene right after this happened. So this is what she had to say about this crime that took place just a couple hours ago.
And Myra, were you here when this happened, or?
I was not here when it happened. I'm one of the community advocates, one of the community leaders. So usually when things take place in community, I get a phone call.
And tell me about that phone call today.
Well, I got a phone call, and it was didn't have a lot of information at that moment. Just stating that there had been a shooting at the store, and I said I'm on my way.
And then I saw you reconciling people over here and speaking to people over here. What are you hearing from residents who were here at the time
About the
incident, the shooting?
Just that there was a fight that broke out, and then shooting started to take place.
And so you represent this area. Could you talk a little bit about just the crime in the area in general, or are you shocked at all? Or
no, absolutely. I was raised in this community. This type of violence is not normal for our community, and we as a community stick together to make sure we prevent this type of violence from happening. Our neighborhood association, we meet once a month. Police are always present to make sure we report what types of crime is taking place in the community, and then they make a report to us about the calls that were made to them. So the crime rate has been down in our community. We do community events, prayer walks, parades, to make sure that we let our community know that we want to prevent this type of violence in our community.
How important is it to have those meetings? You said police are involved in making sure they're keeping this area safe and having that relationship.
Oh, it's very important, and they're very active, and they've really been doing a great job with supporting us in this community.
As a community advocate, to see a young woman out here in hysterics after something like this, not even knowing the connection, I don't know the connection she has to this, but what is it like for you to get that call and come out here and see this?
It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking to lose a loved one, and sudden death is the worst type of death, and it's just really heart-wrenching to see.
What will you and the community do to come together right now?
We always come together in times like this. We feed the family, we send flowers, we show up as a community at homes, even when it's not a violent act. When we lose people in this community, period, we show up as a community.
Is there anything else you'd like to? Go ahead.
Talk about this shopping center being the center of the heartbeat of Trinity Park.
So yeah, this shopping center is the heartbeat of Trinity Park. It's where we gather, it's where we meet. For fun activities. This is not an area where every time you turn around there's some violence. Like I said, once a year, several times a year, we have cookouts, we have, prayer walks and parades, and when we have cookouts, we feed the whole community. We have and I'd really like you to, if you can, really make it known that even once a year, we have a huge event where we give back. We give book bags to our students when they're going back to school, and we have a huge cookout, bouncy houses, and DJ. We really focus on being a close-knit family.
And so with this being a close-knit family, just how gut-wrenching is it when something like this happens?
It is gut-wrenching, and it's hurtful. And most of the time, it's not from within our community. It's the outsiders that come in and make this type of violence happen.
Anything else you'd like to add in?
Again, my heart goes out to the family. I'm very sorry that this happened, and we'll do everything that we can to prevent anything further from happening like this. So if it's more police activity that we need to see, or put a tower out here, whatever we have to do. I have a direct number to the police captain because they've made themselves available to us. So whatever we have to do to prevent this from happening, we'll do it. And we want to be here for the family as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name or the spelling. What was it?
Myra Stewart, MYRASTEWART.
Now, just a few minutes after that, we also got a chance to hear from a CMPD officer about the updates on that investigation. Now, I know Anna, who was here earlier reporting for us on the scene, mentioned some things that she was hearing from witnesses that she spoke with. CMPD is not able to confirm a lot of that right now, but this is what we know confirmed so far.
Perfect. I can be your middleman right here. If you want to look at me, if that works for everybody. All right. Everybody good? Yep. Good to go? Cool. First and last name and title, please.
Michael Anderson, MICAEL, ANDERSON, Patrol Major, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. At around 1:05 p.m. today, we received multiple calls for service at the 9100 block of Trinity Road. In those description, the call for service stated that one male victim had been shot. Officers were on scene and did locate one male victim suffering from a apparent gunshot wound. CFD and medic arrived on scene and did try to provide life-saving measures, but due to the extent of the injuries of the victim, they were pronounced deceased on the scene. One of the things that we're asking for, calling for from the public, if anybody with any information, to please utilize Charlotte Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600 or utilize Charlotte P3 Tips mobile app. I will take some questions at this time.
We're hearing this stem from a argument. Is there any information you can give us on that?
I don't want to speculate at this time on that. We're still in the preliminary investigation. As you see, our men and women are working diligently and hard back here to make sure that we give justice to the victim and the family.
And so the shooting happened inside or outside?
At this time, everything that we're seeing on scene, that it did happen outside.
Of the barbershop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you asking for public help? That means you don't have a suspect in custody?
This time, we do have some information that we just can't put that out right now, just for the integrity of the case.
Is there any information asking for the public's help? Do you guys have, is there a car description? Is it one person? Is it multiple? Is there anything that people can look out for?
At this time, like once there's additional information, we'll make sure that information is put out through our PIO office. We really want the integrity of that, make sure we have the right information. We don't want to put out information that is wrong and then have to resent back.
Any other injuries on scene? Was it just one person shot?
Oh, it's just injuries to one person.
Community should be alerted or anything at this time. It seems to be one-on-one case.
Yeah, at this time, it's no concern to the public. This does appear to be an isolated incident. If we do get any concerns to the public, we'll make sure that we'll get that communicated out.
One more question. Do you believe at this time that they were known, the suspects and the victim, to each other?
Yeah, we're still working through that. That's still preliminary right now, but the way that things are looking, that is the kind of way that is going right now.
You want to do one more just community real quick?
Sure, one more community call.
Yeah, call to action. We have community advocates out here that say they work really closely with CMPD, appreciate the tight-knit community and everything that you guys have been doing with them. Anything you want to say to the community out here?
I will say thank you for the community's support and help. We couldn't do our job without them. Want to keep on. If you see something, say something. It takes their eyes and their ears in order for us to go out here and do our jobs. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Do you have any additional questions?
All right, we are going to get to another break, but stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Quite the snowy day on Beach Mountain for all those people taking an early holiday break and enjoying some skiing and snowboarding. James, are you a ski and snowboarder?
Only if you want bloopers.
That's funny. Me neither. So you've got two unathletic people here enjoying everyone else having a good time on the mountain today. I know there's some rain coming our way and some warmer temperatures actually coming. So if you're going to do it, today is probably the day. However, if you are like us and don't want to risk any injuries with our uncoordinatedness, you can still get the festive spirit with our parades around the Piedmont. So if you missed Belmont Christmas Parade last night, tonight we're going to have the Concord Christmas Parade at 9:30 p.m. here on WCNC Plus. At 9 p.m. right before it, you're going to have Nick talking all things Panthers, especially ahead of that big game, hoping for the playoffs against the Buccaneers. Also at the same time, I know that President Donald Trump is expected to have his speech, so we're going to air that at 9, not just on NBC, but also on our secondary channel. But definitely something to, multiple things to look forward to tonight, multiple things going on tonight that will carry you through here on Live Impact. But as I mentioned, definitely not looking like a white Christmas for us here in Charlotte this year. That hope is pretty much gone. We're talking at some point this week we're getting into the 60s, and any kind of precipitation is looking more like rain. So of course, it has happened a couple times, more of a generational thing that it happened. So our majestic storm breaks down. How rare is it actually for Charlotte to get a white Christmas in today's Weather IQ?
Well, it may feel festive this time of the year, but how often does Charlotte actually see snow on Christmas? It turns out it's not very often. Here in Charlotte, snow on Christmas is almost as rare as seeing Santa Claus himself. Since official weather records began in 1878, Charlotte only had measurable snowfall 4 times on Christmas Day. Those years were 1880, 1909, 1947, and 2010. Out of those 4, only 2 of them accumulated at least 1 inch of snow. And the year with the most snow on Christmas Day, it was 1947, when we accumulated 5.8 inches of snow. And the last time we saw any snow on Christmas Day, it was 15 years ago in 2010. Now, we only have a 3% chance of seeing Christmas snow in any given year. So overall here in Charlotte, while the chances aren't 0, it's incredibly low. So why is it so rare? To get snow on Christmas Day, we need 2 main things: cold air and moisture. But the catch is that we need it at the exact same time. And December in the Carolinas isn't very good at pulling off that combination. We're still early in the cold season, and the true Arctic air isn't consistently locked in yet. Without that deep cold, most December weather systems typically bring rain instead of snow in the city. Charlotte is actually 3 times more likely to see a 70-degree Christmas day than a snowy one. So while Charlotte can get snow on Christmas, history tells us that we might be better off just dreaming of that white Christmas instead. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm.
Not looking too good for our chances this year. Also happening, though, of course, is people are celebrating Hanukkah. So Governor McMaster in South Carolina was there last night, I believe, at a menorah lighting to celebrate that in South Carolina.
You will? Oh, yeah.
You go ahead. Actually, Beth's right about everything except this. I will be here next year as governor. Okay. And I hope I can find my overcoat too, because it's cold. Peggy and I have been here every time, and we'll continue. And I may have told y'all before, but Peggy's name is Peggy Jean Maccabee. So I'm qualified. This is an important event, an important season. It's important for Columbia. It's important for the state. Like you, maybe unlike most people, as governor, I was allowed to see some films from October the 7th. It's hard to believe. Like many of you, I've been to one of the concentration camps, and of course we've seen pictures of them. And I can't understand it. I know that General Eisenhower after World War II had all the American troops march through the camps so they could see it with their own eyes, so it could not be denied, and it would be imprinted permanently in their minds and their hearts. I don't know how people can deny what so plainly has happened, what so plainly has been recognized, but they do. But our state, I'm proud to say, I'm a native. I've lived here all my life in Columbia. I love this place. It's a great, great, great city, great people. South Carolina's people are different from many others, and one of those reasons is this colony, among others, had no restrictions, no discriminations against any faith, and in fact the Jews were welcomed and sought to come to this place, to this colony. We had people from everywhere, and I believe that those things made a difference. I know from the history I've read that the Jews have had integral parts in the history and the progress of this state as well as of this country. I simply cannot understand how some people have it in their heart to hate people, to treat people the way they do the Jews. But I'm confident and hopeful that the spirit that has been exhibited here in all these years, in these centuries, will continue to grow and get stronger. I believe that the laws of man are very important, but if the laws of man could stop crime, there wouldn't be any crime, because everything's illegal. All these things, horrible things, are criminal acts. I believe the answer lies in something more powerful than laws, more powerful than locks and chains. I believe the answer lies in the human heart and the human spirit, and it has been mentioned by, I think, everyone who spoke. If we stand together, we're all children of God. If we just stand together and stand for the right and stand for the light, we will prevail. And it's my prayer that this spirit will continue to grow in this place, our place, Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. They say that music is the pen of the soul. Tonight, with this cold, the ink in that pen might freeze. So to warm us up,
All right, that was Governor McMaster speaking at last night's menorah lighting in Columbia as people begin to celebrate Hanukkah for this very festive season. We also want to get to some other news that we've been following a lot, which is, of course, ice raids that is happening across the country. Though that has slowed down here in Charlotte, it is happening now in Minneapolis. So the ACLU spoke about their reaction to the recent ice raids.
Why don't you guys come over here? We ready to get going here? Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Deepinder Mayal. I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of Minnesota. I use he, him pronouns. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to announce an important legal filing. The ACLU of Minnesota, Cerisi Conlin, Horsker & Fisher, and Reich Law are filing a lawsuit against Immigration and Customs Enforcement on behalf of 6 community members whose constitutional rights were violated by Immigration and Customs Enforcement and other federal agents. In recent months, the Trump administration has increased its deployment of federal forces into U.S. cities to supposedly deter crime and enforce immigration laws. However, federal agents have instead engaged in a series of indiscriminate immigration raids led by masked federal officers in militarized gear whose actions look more like abductions than lawful activity. Since the launch of Operation Metro Surge, we have witnessed a remarkable string of unlawful activity targeting Minnesota communities and Minnesota values. This affects us all. And I should say that this activity is also dangerous, it is terrifying, it is unnecessary, and it is excessive. Community members are showing up. They are showing up to inquire, to observe, and to protest these unlawful activities, as is their right. Our First Amendment rights to free speech, assembly, and the press, and our Fourth Amendment right to be free from unlawful arrest are some of the most time-honored and essential rights of our democracy, of a free society, of America. And they are non-negotiable. And you're going to hear today from Alicia Granze, staff attorney on this case, Ms. Alicia, right over here, from the ACLU. You're also going to hear directly from one of our clients, Sue Tincher. We also have up here Kyle Wizlocki from Cerisi Conlin, Rebecca Rogers from Horsgren Fisher, and Teresa Nelson from the ACLU, and Catherine Allen Halverson from the ACLU as well. And I just want to take a moment right now to say thank you. Thank you to Sue, and thank you to our other clients and those people whose rights were violated. I want to say thank you for your courage and your resolve to be here today and to stand up for all of our rights. Look, people are tired. People are tired of seeing federal authorities violating our rights to free speech, to free press, peaceable assembly, and due process. People are tired of the dehumanization of our neighbors, colleagues, and loved ones. So I have a simple message for law enforcement who are involved in this, and that goes for local law enforcement as well. It doesn't matter what uniform you wear. It doesn't matter if you're hiding behind a mask. It doesn't matter how unhinged or discriminatory the president's rhetoric is. You are bound by the U.S. Constitution. The ACLU is not done, and if the Trump administration wants to bring this to Minnesota, the ACLU is here, Minnesotans are here, and we are not afraid. Thank you again for joining us. We are going to hear from Alicia, and then we're going to hear from Sue, and then I'll close us out before we take questions. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alicia Granze. I'm a staff attorney at the ACLU of Minnesota. I use she, her pronouns. In recent weeks, ordinary Minnesotans have come together to engage in our nation's most cherished and protected activity, speech. They have gotten in their cars, congregated outside in freezing temperatures, blown whistles, chanted, learned about and taught each other their constitutional rights, and turned on their cameras. In response to criticism of their actions, federal agents are engaging in unlawful and retaliatory conduct. The lawsuit we are in the process of filing today challenges that unlawful conduct. We seek today to hold the government accountable for its actions, asking for several things. First, that an independent court declare that what masked, marauding federal agents are doing is unlawful. Second, for a permanent order prohibiting them from engaging in unlawful practices in the future. We also plan to file a request for what's called a temporary restraining order that will protect Minnesotans now. This lawsuit aims to vindicate the rights of the Minnesotans who have been victimized by their own government simply for exercising their First Amendment rights, to end the false sense of impunity that fuels the worst of defendants' misconduct, and to ensure that Minnesotans can assemble, observe, document, and criticize the government safely.
All right, you've been listening in to the ACLU's response to those ICE raids in Minneapolis, but we do have some other things we want to hit before we go to our 4 p.m. newscast. So, James, this is some traffic on 45.
That's right. So, new camera from our traffic center here, Interstate 45 in northwest Charlotte. An accident is reported here on 485, slowing traffic down. As you can see right here on the traffic camera, everything is just crawling. This is near Brookshire Boulevard, which is exit 16. So we'll have updates on that coming up on our 4 o'clock newscast.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else coming up very soon here. Any minute now, we're expecting an update from Providence Police on the search for the shooter at Brown University. I believe it's about to begin. We're setting up mics here too. So of course we have to head to our 4 p.m. newscast, but we are going to carry this press conference on our secondary stream channel. So if you want to stick with it and hear everything live, I'm sure we'll have it later tonight as well when we're back at 7. But you can do that as it's happening live at 4 p.m. Also happening tonight on our stream, after 7 to 9, we're going to have some more news locally and nationally. 9, we're going to have Nick with some more Panthers coverage. And 9:30, we're going to have the Concord Christmas Parade. This is a part of a week-long initiative we're doing, highlighting parades and celebrations around the Piedmont region. So if you missed Belmont last night, you're going to want to join tonight at 9:30. See the Concord Christmas Parade. A nice way to get into the holiday spirit while doing it inside and staying warm, James, which is my favorite thing to do this time of year, is be warm.
No better place to be than WCNC Plus.
Where else would you rather be? But as we've talked about all day long, a lot of big stories today, not just here locally, but nationally as well. We've got reporters all across our region right now ready to bring you the updates. So stick with us for our 4 p.m. newscast any minute now. And thanks for watching. We'll be back here in